Excellent. Hello, welcome everyone to the Area Cup. We are very excited to be bringing this to you. I'm Yessoan, this is CalamarCat. As you can see by our lovely overlays that we have been very kindly gifted.
These are amazing. Oh my goodness. Also, kudos to Yessoan for getting this set up. And to Area Cup for creating them. These overlays are insane.
Absolutely. So I hope you're ready for some crazy production value today. Speaking of, we are streaming the Area Cup. For those of you that aren't familiar, we're going to quickly go over the rules and then we're going to jump right into a game because the pools are already over. We're almost ready for our first set of single elimination bracket. So let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, do you want to talk us through what we've got here?
Yeah, so Area Cup, the biggest thing about this is it's splat zones only, which honestly I would love to play. I am so keen for this. So the pools that have just happened were best of 3 and random zone stages. So we have the teams playing through those already. And then the pool winners then play in a single elimination bracket with stage counter picking. So I believe that's where we're up to now.
Yes, so the pools have just concluded. Ooh, I've got Splatoon. We've ticked over at 10 o'clock. Yes. So the pools have concluded. We have our top 16 teams from the pools. So they're going to be going directly into the elimination bracket, which I can bring up for us as well, actually. Although, let me just check that I have... Yep, I have the most up-to-date version, so we'll check that here. So you can see this is our single elimination bracket. A few of these pools haven't resolved yet, so you can see on this graph here, the 1-1, that's the winner of pool 1, and then 9-1, that's the winner of pool 9. And they are all going to slot into this bracket here. A couple of teams have buys, but we're going to be jumping in for the winner of pool 1 versus the winner of pool 2, and following that all the way down to the grand finals.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And I believe this is all going to be best of 5 from now on as well. So...
I think it's best of 5 for semis and grands, but I think it's best of 3 until then, so it's still very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is high stakes. There is no room for mistakes in this tournament. It is spicy. So we're just waiting now on the room that will get us into this match. Until then, I believe we can have a bit of a look at the teams we're going to be spectating here. Got one of them set up and ready to go. Our Pool 2 winners. If we jump over here, Pool 2 winners are Otafuku. We have the 4 players here. And each of these team infos also has a little message from the teams that they submitted when they signed up. They're usually very wholesome and nice, having read through them all. This team is adamant that they will do their best. So that's very good. That's always a good sign.
It really was very amusing and sweet reading through everyone's little team bio things, to be honest. We did have a lot of help from the Area Cup team to translate everything, which we really appreciate. But yeah, I'm really glad that they actually translated everything, including those little bios for us, because, for example, one of them is just crab.
Crab. There's a lot of data here. We couldn't have done this without all the help that we've had from the team overseas, and also a few very hardworking admins on this side of the pond. So yeah, we've got that info for you. I believe we have our other team as well. I'm just going to quickly see if I can pull that information up. Yeah, so our other team is Purity. Let's get their information on screen. Have a look at Purity. Lovely. So this is our Pool 1 winner.
I recognize the name there.
I do
now,
too.
I'm admittedly... I'm a little bit out of touch with the Japanese scene, I must say. So chat, if anyone knows anything about any of these players, shout out, metaphorically, I guess. But Chocopero is a name I definitely recognize.
Oh, see, I recognize a different name.
Oh, who?
I recognize Suryu, the top Dually Squelches player in the world. I recognize them specifically because I do Lobster Crossfire on my channel quite frequently, and they win pretty much every time. So we've got 2 very strong names here, and if I have a quick look at the pools, they have won all of their sets. So they were able to beat every one of their opponents, only dropping a single game, so they are looking quite fierce.
Oh boy. Yeah, alright, this is gonna be interesting to watch. What was the run through the pools for the other team, if you have it there?
Yeah, so the other team, A2, so their pool only had 3 teams, and they were able to beat both of their opponents. So they did drop a game as well, but they've had a bit less opposition getting here. I don't know how much I can tell from that. Again, it's very high stakes throughout the whole tournament. There's no room for mistakes here. If you drop a game, if you drop a round against a single opponent, you don't really get to play anymore. So, yeah, we're being very cautious here. Okay, I do have the room ready to go, so we will have some gameplay very shortly, hopefully. In the meantime, yeah, just again to refresh on those rules, we're playing Splat Zones only. There are no weapon restrictions of any kind, and we're playing random no, now we're at the brackets, so these teams are going to be counter-picking their stages as well. So they have plenty of choices here in terms of what they want to see on the board.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what maps the teams pick here. I do wish I had more data on maps for the previous tournaments. I have seen that, if anyone's interested in stats, Gambawumi has been doing stats on Area Cup for a while. I have a little bit of data here from the last round, but not enough. And I don't know, I am interested to see, in particular, how the maps that the Japanese teams will choose would differ from what I would expect as, you know, an Oceanink player. I'm sure there's going to be differences, and I'm really curious.
Splat Zones only as well, so what are the most popular Splat Zones maps in this region? How are they played? How are these teams playing against their opponents? Okay, well we have a lobby ready to go. I can transition us over to gameplay now, and we can check out that lobby. Excellent. Look at these overlays. Excellent stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at that. They're on the right sides. Everything reads well. Oh, it's so good.
It's so
very
pretty.
good.
Also, any mistakes with romanization in the player names is probably my fault. So,
I mean, to be fair, you did very well considering the time you had.
I think there was 3 of us doing it about, what, 3 hours ago?
Yeah.
Really quickly, so...
So yeah, if there are any mistakes, feel free to shout out in chat if you are aware. Maybe we can fix them on the fly? We definitely can't fix them on the fly, but maybe we can.
Oh, Chocopero is usually a C, yes. I did realize that after I did it.
Ah, excellent. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
First game. Okay, looking at these weapons that we have here, indeed, as predicted, we are seeing Suryu with those dually squelches. 100% saw that coming, but also with Splat Zones, a rapid Kensa blaster coming out here from Otafuku. It is very good for this map. You can get a lot of very nice narrow lines on your opponents without having to put yourself at risk.
Yeah, I do wonder... Oh, we already have 2 down here. That was some pretty quick splats there, and quick cap onto the zones as well. I guess they're just going to try and sit and paint up and try and hold this. Oh, there's the dualies, yep.
Yeah, okay, they have a good vantage point here. It's very hard to knock opponents out of this little nest area without a significant special or sub-rush to make it happen. They're going to use Tenta missiles to try to bridge that gap, see if that Enzak has created enough of an opening for them to get back onto the zone with only 50 points remaining or so. They really need to solve this one out.
Nice bit of painting there from range, just keeping safe, getting the zone, but it has gone back once again. So we really need to get something drastic here, perhaps.
Absolutely. We are seeing Purity. The reason this team has so many known players is clearly because they have the skills to back it up. With only 24 remaining, we really need to see a flippin' penalty here, otherwise this one's going to be over very, very quickly.
We do have the baller coming out though. That should get the zone there, yep. And the other zone is also being painted by the looks of it. Oh, we've got 1 down on Purity, 2 down on Otafuku here.
Yeah, it's looking like Purity are going to be able to keep it, but they have got that penalty on there now, so we do have another chance for Otafuku to bring this one back around. Now, will they try to slug it out and get those splats wherever they can, or are they going to go for one big special push? If this is our region, I know what they do, but here, I'm just not sure. We need to see how these players want to attempt this challenge.
Yeah, we got a bit of a push coming through here. Or pushing up to try and defend from a further forward, that one.
Yep. Purity are using the high ground to their advantage here. Looking at the weapons that we have on display, we've got 4 essentially shooters on Otafuku, whereas Purity, they've got the blob lobbers, so they can use that height and those clean angles. And they've got some dualies as well, which really do allow them to use the corners here to their advantage. I'm wondering if they're celebrating this map and dreading the opponent's map pick in the next round should this go their way.
Yeah, that's always a fear with counterpicking is you're never quite sure what the other team's going to do unless you've done a lot of research.
Yeah, we don't know how well these teams know each other, to be fair. We did have a lot of teams registered for this tournament as well. I know we had upwards of 50. I'll see if I can get the exact number if you give me a second. Oh no, not upwards of 50. I have miscounted slightly. Upwards of 40 is what I meant to say. We had 41 teams in this tournament. So to have it already boiled down to 16 means we are looking at some tough squids and kids. And those numbers do not lie. Look at those results. Pretty even in terms of splats, but the control was always on Purity's side, so they were able to lock that first round away quite convincingly.
Yeah. They took the zones and then they pushed up and they just kept it for really most of the game. I am hoping to see that again. It is always interesting to see how a team arrays themselves across the map to hold that kind of defensive line and what weapons they put where. I find there's a lot I can learn, at least, from watching that kind of thing. So...
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as well, a quad shooter composition, which is essentially what we're seeing. I know there was a blaster, but it has the same drawbacks that a shooter does have. I think we're likely to see a much more open map. I know that Manta Maria is quite clustered and probably not what the team was hoping for, what they practiced for. And if we get a much more open map here, like maybe an ink blot or maybe a... let me think, what zones maps do people like to pick? We might see a Piranha Pit. That could definitely lead more towards their composition. Maybe it's something they favor, something they're very well practiced at. Now this is best of 3 as well. It's already match point for Purity here. They only need to take one of their opponent's picks away from them and they are through to the next round. And with only 4 rounds till the championship's over, that is... victory is already so close for these players. It is just such a short sprint, but such a dangerous one.
Yeah, it could really go quite fast if they manage to keep holding the games like that. So it would be nice to see a game go to game 3, as always. We like going to the last round.
We like a close game. I've just realized as well, with our fancy new overlays, we actually have a replay feature. But I didn't take any replays from that match, so I'll be keeping an eye out for those in the future rounds. We'll hopefully get some nice replays so we can do some post-game analysis on those. Alright, so I imagine at the moment, teams are thinking about map picks. That's what's taking the time here. There's probably some very tense discussion. And I imagine we recognize 2 of the players on Purity. I imagine they probably know quite a bit about their opponent as well. So they've probably got a lot of information to work on here. But again, I am expecting a more open map based on the picks we saw in that first round.
Yeah, I am wondering as well whether they might change up their weapons too much. I feel like I'm not expecting it as much with this as I would with a Oceanink tournament. I can't entirely explain why, but I feel like Japanese players tend to focus on a weapon a bit more. Like, we recognize Suryu for the dualies, and like that's the really clear one. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think like looking at a lot of the team data as well. I know that there have been a lot of posts on Twitter about players' favorite weapons and what weapons they can play. And a lot of players can usually play around 2 or 3, but they have a favorite one. And when each player has a favorite one that can work for most maps, you can fairly easily practice and build up that team skill because you know what your teammates are going to be running, you know what to expect, you know what playstyle they're going to be going after, and you can support them in that way. So I totally agree that we won't see too many changes, especially because they're changing the map, right? That's the variable here. They don't need to change weapons too much. And I didn't see any weaknesses in either of those compositions either. There wasn't anything that could be directly targeted. There wasn't anything that didn't have the chance to be effective. We're going to Schellendorf Institute here. This is definitely a lot more of an open map, especially if we're counting the roof, which we absolutely should, because this is zones and there are going to be players up there for days. We might see some range changes. We might see... I know that the jets have been quite popular until their nerf recently. They had a slight nerf to their special charge. I don't know how much that would have helped on Schellendorf, but we'll see if that has changed what these players are going to pick.
Yeah, I've always found Schellendorf really interesting for the fact that the roof does make some specials rather interesting to use. So
well,
yeah,
it's a lot harder to be evasive up there. You can't build your own specials up there because there's just nowhere to paint. It's a very vulnerable but powerful position. And if your opponent knows how to defend it well, then you can really cut them out. And we are indeed seeing some weapon changes to match. We have the Fire Fin Scope coming out here for Otafuku. That will hopefully give them a bit of that extra control. They did pick this map with that in mind, I imagine. So hopefully they're a crack charger shot. And they can make that work. We've already got 2 down on Otafuku, though. I can't see where all the members of Purity are, but we already have a K-shot flanking underneath. Ooh, almost catches the jump there.
So close!
Very close. That is some amazing awareness as well to pick someone out on that. And not quite able to get away. That's the power of the Rapid Blaster there. Your evasive maneuvers aren't as effective because that blast radius can catch you out on most of your dukes and dives. And Booyah Bomb should be able to clear out the rest of Purity. Oh no, a trade! Really thought that squeezer was going down there, but with the fight going neutral like that, it's still in Purity's control.
Yeah, and there's only, 20 seconds at this point to take it over. We do have quite a bit of ink. There we go. Alright. Zone has switched over to Purity's favour. We do have missiles coming out there, but I don't think they quite managed anything.
No, I didn't see them catch anything in particular. The 5N is doing a good job here in just controlling the space. They haven't managed to get any picks yet, but like the threat of having them here alone means that we're seeing Purity go around for flanks on the side. You can see the bubbles coming up here as well to try and catch them out on assaults, but they're not quite able to land that hit. So yeah, that charger, even though they're not getting the picks, they are asserting so much dominance here. Yeah,
we had Norisuke coming around the side there and got picked off by 2 members of Purity who were watching the side. So nicely done there. That could have been a little bit dangerous, but spotted it nice and early. Now it's just, Purity's just holding this. We're down to 20 points already.
I believe that's Otafuku with
Otafuku.
Spectator Cam loves to switch it. Enzap is pushing up onto the roof here as well, just to make life a little bit more difficult. Oh, but the last minute swap could come in.
The sniper!
Oh,
and it goes back to Otafuku.
Blindingly close there. I really thought they were going to be able to get the flip. They threw everything they had on that last second push, but the Firefin was in position. They weren't able to unseat them after the first 2 minutes, and that pressure... Like, they only got that one splat at the end, but that was really all they needed, because the team of Purity just had to spend all their time trying to figure out how to get rid of them.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing with any charger, really, is if you get those clutch snipes, yes, there's plenty you can do throughout the game, keeping pressure on, doing a bit of painting, etc. But those clutch snipes can really be important. And it's something that I think the charges are so much better for than a lot of other weapons, really.
Absolutely. We have... I can bring up... I did manage to grab a replay of the end of that match, so we can switch over to it quickly.
Ooh.
And just have a look here. At that timer ticking down, we have the Tenta missiles coming out from Purity. They were throwing... I think they ended up throwing 3 specials at this. We got a bomb launcher... the bubbles aren't quite ready, and then the key pick there,
that snipe,
that Firefin, it just shows they picked that map with intention. They knew for a fact that they could play that map effectively, and they pulled it off.
Yeah, I think there was a bomb rush come out just the beginning of that clip. I think there was a bomb rush as well from
the other side. Okay,
well,
that might have explained it.
Help a bit.
Yeah,
because I think that was keeping the zone quite green, and that would have helped a lot with countering the specials coming from Purity. Sort of that preemptive counter.
Yeah, well, they knew that they were close to getting the knockout, so they were securing it, if anything. Worked very well for them. So we have now Purity choosing Piranha Pit This is match point for both teams here. The winner of this moves on through the bracket. So this could go either way. We've seen both of these teams in their element. I'm a little surprised to see this pick from Purity. I thought we might see something a little bit more claustrophobic. But we'll see how they choose to play it. Weapon picks are pretty standard across the board. Nothing we haven't seen already, though we do have the custom jet coming out for Otafuku to get that stingray pressure we're already seeing in action. It's very effective on this map, and it is a very good pick, especially because you do get that wide open area that stops the damage from being reduced by walls. However, it hasn't bought them as much area as they like, and we're going to see a bit of a retreat here from Otafuku as Purity push in to get the early points in this match.
We did have quite a few people go down just in the first 30 seconds there, which really didn't help either team get the zone. Oh, there we go. Alright, nice spot. We have that stingray coming out again, but the zones are very yellow, including the surrounding area right now.
Clearly that nerf wasn't enough to dissuade people from running that thing as a stingray machine. And Blaster does come around and support the front line there. Does end up trading out, so we have 2 down on Purity at the moment. Otafuku getting their first points, and they've pretty much wiped the board here.
Yeah, nice fade. Just painting up, trying to, oh.
Yeah,
someone is trying to sneak out.
The lockout begins here. We have ink armor on the back burner as well. So the moment the opponent tries to make a strong push, yeah, here it comes now. The resistance will be swift and painful. Purity kind of backed into a corner here. They look so strong at the beginning, but I don't know if this map was the right choice for them. Okay, looking at it now, we do have a strong neutral. A lot of Otafuku have been taken out. They've got a significant point lead, especially considering the penalty their opponent already has to get through. And currently Purity are just on their mid-defensive lines. Until they push forward, they're not going to be able to secure that many points. Ooh, and the Stingray picks one up as well.
Nice.
That is very important for Otafuku. They can really turn the balance their way if they don't lose all their players.
Oh my goodness, it's 3 down.
It's just the jet. They're going to have to jump back to spawn. They do not have a Stingray prepared, and that is going to be Purity with a very strong hold now. Let's see how they play Lockout.
We do have some bombs coming out there, but I don't think it's going to do anything more than be a bit of a distraction. We've got the Julie squad sitting on the side.
That is Purity taking the lead now. A significant penalty sitting on Otafuku as well, but we're only halfway through the match, so it is still anyone's game. That being said, if we don't see some splats from Otafuku quickly, this could go Purity's way. There's only 1 player remaining, and they are getting absolutely swamped. That is essentially a wipe. Purity looking like they're going to be able to take this one out after a very quick redoubling of their efforts.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of specials come out very quickly there as well. It felt like they were chained, like on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't see half of it, like half of it was off screen, but I feel like I'd see bits and pieces of the specials.
Autospec didn't quite help us out there, but I 100% agree. It was well paced, right? Like they knew how the game was going. They knew exactly when they needed to pepper those out. They didn't demolish their opponent immediately and then have to hold out against a resistance. They played it until the last second, and then they wiped the board clean so their opponent wouldn't have a chance to come back during those closing seconds. So that was very well played. Purity going to be taking that one and moving on to the next set.
Yeah. Oh, I love watching this. This is so good.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. We'll
Yeah.
switch over to the tournament bracket now. I don't think we have many other match results at the moment, and unfortunately my auto-translator can't translate this. So I don't know how useful this screen is actually going to be. But we can see that Purity have moved on. Our bracket 1 winners there have moved on to the next round. We also have, by the looks of things, squad, the 4th round there between 2 of our teams. I would imagine that would be the 7th and 8th pools has advanced as well in a 2-0. Much more commanding victory. I'm interested to see who is there. I might be able to have a look in between screens. We'll see what info we can get. But yeah, amazing start between two absolutely gangbusters teams. Neither one felt like they had a dominating victory at any point. Like there was always a bit of back and forth between these teams, and it's good to see such like a level playing field. Especially considering like how the tournament is set up, where a very good team could get taken out by a very poor team in just a happenstance of 2 rounds.
Yeah, I do feel like the teams seem to... The first match was a lot more locked down, and then I feel like it started going back and forth a lot more as we went through. So I do wonder how much of that was, you know, the counter-picking the maps and having a better strategy for what they're going to do. I wonder how much was just learning, you know, seeing what the other team, what weapons they're playing and deciding to pick against it.
Yeah. I feel like we are going to see like most of the same comps throughout the competition, especially if we spectate the same teams. But it's nice to see the variety there as well. They were very different compositions for both of our teams. Like neither one was like... Yeah. I'm very used to mirror matches at high levels of play, but it's good to see a lot of weapon variety at this skill level. It's very fun.
I honestly don't remember the last time I commentated a match that had a blob in it. I really appreciated that. I love blobs.
It's a very powerful weapon for splat zones. I can absolutely recommend it and see why it's there. Okay, so I'm just trying to decrypt some of our other match results here. Let's see what I can do. Progress table might have something? Nope. Okay.
Chat is saying that the music is maybe a little bit loud, by the way.
Excellent. Thank you very much, chat. We are just trying to get those levels just right, and I can't quite hear them at the moment. I have 2 sets of headphones in at once, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah, Yessoan's setup is slightly insane right now, so...
But yes, thank you very much. If you ever need the audio adjusted, just let CalamarCat know, and I will be right on that. Yes, I don't have chat open actually. Maybe I should quickly get that as well.
Tiramisu. Someone asked about tiramisu. Is that a player or a team?
I will.
I cannot see them, but only one blob not good enough. I mean, yeah, you have a point, Void. At some point, I think like a Series Div 6 match. I think I remember seeing a game that had 3 blobs in it. It was great. I loved it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did that at some point, actually.
Yeah, actually, probably would have been you guys. A player? I can't see them in the list of teams and players that we have, unfortunately. So...
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out, but yeah, I'm not seeing that one on my list.
Yeah.
We can go through some of the teams that we have remaining. Might as well have a look at some of our block... Well, we could just go through all the block winners while I wait for our next set, actually.
Yeah, alright.
Especially because just looking at the bracket, I think we're still waiting on the other set to finish up. Let me just double check that before I go crazy. Yeah, so we're still waiting on the Pool 3 and Pool 4 champions to battle it out. So in the meantime, yeah, let's have a look at some of our teams. See who we've got. Especially because we might not see these pool champions at any other point throughout the tournament. Okay, one moment while I get some of these up. Alright, champions. Great. Splatoon Association. Let's look at them first.
Oh yes. This was when we were translating or attempting to translate the team and player names earlier today. This was one of the ones where I read the kanji. I was like, am I reading this right?
Very well done.
A few of them yes, Splat Roller Association.
Yes.
Yeah, a few of them are very obvious about what they're intending.
Yeah.
These guys in particular. So
Absolutely. So yeah, that was our A3 winner. They won our 3rd block against Unpleasant and Taghold, I believe. Yeah, Taghold and Uncomfortable is the team name. So that was our winner for that block. Let's keep going through them. I gotta also keep an eye out to see if the lobby is ready as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, Kofu, we're just waiting on. We're waiting on a couple of games to finish, I think.
Yep.
And then we'll have the next one.
Okay. Our block 4 winners were Anarchy.
Yep.
They were able to take out Team Striped and Cheer Team.
Yep. Is that? We have the Romanji for Dynamon there, but I'm wondering if that is the Dynamon.
Ooh, good
Possibly.
question.
Because this is plain Romanji for the player names, for anyone who's looking, so we haven't, like, tried to translate it to the English equivalents.
Oh, actually, I think there was a last-minute shuffle in some of the blocks. I believe this, they defeated Arctic Moon, which is a team that some people in chat might be familiar with. So they were the Block 4 winners who beat Arctic Moon. So you have that one there. Next one we have is... Nope. Okay, that name's not going to come up immediately. I'm going to have to find it. Oh, actually, do we have... I heard a ding ding. No, we don't have it. We don't have it yet. All right.
We have. We know who's next.
Oh, okay. So it won't be much longer then.
A13 Life versus A16 Clad in Death.
The winner of A16. Okay.
Wait. All right. So we have Team Life versus Team Clad in Death.
That doesn't sound right. We can have a quick look at the teams there then. We have Clad in Death here. Their message is just a crimson glow, which is very ominous and scary.
Yeah, I'm mildly terrified, alright?
And they're up against Life?
Yes, apparently.
Life will try to do their best. Okay.
I do love how many teams did that. It's so good.
I'm not gonna go against the poetic justice here. We are watching Life and Death right now. I don't know which team is the alpha team just yet.
Any opinions from chat on who's going to win this one, just based on the team names?
Yeah, just based on Life and Death.
It's almost like we're in a Splatfest or something. Alright, I don't recognize any of these names, the player names either. Does anyone in chat recognize any?
Yeah, shout out if you do. I'll put Clad Clad in Death back up.
Yeah. Menshino, Benzaisu, Turara, and Rifu seems.
Okay. Can no longer put them up for some reason. Alright, lovely.
Salty's going for death. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense.
Oh dear. Where was... I am also hoping... I don't know if they've already been knocked out, they might have. But there's a team called Don't Use Charger, who I was hoping to see as well. So we have, Splat Roller Association, who apparently only use Splat Roller. And then we have Don't Use Charger, who I assume refuse to use Charger. There's also 1,000 Years of Death, is another team that was in this as well. Yep. So, and there's Chaos, who I was half hoping we might see as well. So,
right.
Oh, Martin Boat's Life. Yep. Right.
Okay.
Rask and Chitto haven't played the game for so long. Interesting. I wonder actually. One of the teams in their little bio thing had mentioned about the patch. We want to win the first tourney after the patch. Who was that? That was Umako Kai. I do wonder how many players have come back because of the patch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I played a bit last week because there was a patch and that was a little bit exciting, and so I was like, alright, why not?
Naturally. Now, I don't 100% know if I have these teams oriented the right way, so you'll have to bear with me, chat, while I get the original untranslated data. But until then... I
can quickly check the player names.
Lovely, thank you very, very much. But until then, we have our match set up, so let's see what our teams are bringing. Okay, we have a K-Slosh, as well as the Firefin returning, and a heavy remix, a Soda Slosher, and the Cancer Gal coming out here from our Bravo team.
So yellow is Team Life.
Okay.
And Death is Team Blue.
Excellent, and just to double check, that spectator hasn't swapped it on me. click the swap button. Lovely. We have life on the death, life on the left, and death on the right. Life on the death. Looks like life has been snuffed out as death reigns supreme early on here. That being said, we do have the soda pushing up a bit too quickly and the foil's able to pick them out. I don't know how many points they're going to be able to get here, especially because we have 2 specials ready to go for life. They're going to have a nice easy time pushing back in as long as they take it nice and slow. And Gama comes out first. The bubbles are ready on standby and the K Machine has their special as well. Booyah Bomb buys a bit more time for Clad and Death, but will it be enough to significantly increase their scoreline?
A bit of a distraction down here with this one player that came out in the court. That getting a few more points there as well. Oh, nice splat. That's 2 down on Death now. We got bubbles coming out as well. Seems to be trying to protect the zone.
Does manage to pick the soda, which is a very handy pick. They should be able to get Cap here. They do have a significant player advantage and a lot of turfing. Yes, they do grab it.
There we go. Nice.
So now life is in control. It'll be interesting to see how they set up for their defense. We saw Clad and Death just get a bit splat hungry. Perhaps craving the death of their opponent. Will life play a bit more safe?
Clad and Death definitely seem to be playing to their name there. Alright, we have Booyah coming out here as well. That is the zone back to Clad and Death. We've got a Bomb Rush coming out as a counter. Not forward enough to actually get many onto the zone there. And another Booyah coming out as well. Ooh, nice trade there. Nice work by that.
That double Booyah Bomb comp is definitely a good counter pick to a Bomb Rush composition. Because you are able to shut down that Bomb Rush very, very quickly. Clad and Death back in control. They're playing it a bit safer this time. The soda seems to be the most game out of their team. But now that they have a solid lead, it looks like they're more going for a defensive play. Especially because they are still clearing penalty. Whereas we see life here very cautiously approaching their opponent while the ink armor is up. I imagine as soon as that drops, we're going to see them spring to action.
Yeah, they might actually be waiting for that remix to get out of position there as well, because I feel like the remix is a fair threat, being able to paint the zone from so far back and just get those picks. But they did decide to go around here. Oh, nice work. 3 down on Death. Very
well coordinated by life there. They waited for the Bomb Rush to buy them the cover to push in, and then they started to sprawl out along the avenues of offense. They are scoring points again. We do have the soda out, the Kensa bucket is out in the left side of the map as well to shut down the sneak approach. Team is spread quite thin, but you kind of have to for Arowana considering how many approach vectors there are to the zone itself. So they're playing it quite nicely. They are close again to lead. Oh, and the bubbles catch the Booyah Bomb!
Oh,
what an excellent play! That is brilliant stuff. That is definitely going to buy them a bit more time on the scoreboard.
It's still alive! Oh no!
Is it going to be enough though? It is enough! They've managed to take the lead by a single point due to that play. Life in with a very good chance of taking this here, especially with that timer sitting at quite a low margin.
Yeah, well done there. Although it seems to be going back a little bit. Oh, there we go. Alright, Death have gotten their zone back. They have quite the penalty though. 40 points to get through. Minute left. Oh, that trade there.
Yeah, those penalties are razor thin, and Life are really going to want to keep it as neutral as possible here. Whereas we have Clad and Death jumping in with all of their players. They are ready to just overwhelm their opponent. We'll see if they're able to hold them out for long enough.
Yeah, we have one special up on Death so far. Oh, nope, it's been used.
Yep, that is going to be the lead change there. So Clad and Death sitting in a very comfortable position, but not able to get the knockout just yet. We do have control go back to life with 30 seconds left on the clock. I don't know if they're going to be able to chew through that penalty in time, especially if this Soda Slosher stays as wily as they have been.
Yeah, this Slosher has such good maneuverability, and being able to paint from anywhere around the zone here. It's such a dangerous enemy. Oh, it's so close!
Yeah, life is all but snuffed out there, and with only 5 seconds left, I don't think they have a chance to get the zone back. I think Clad and Death are going to just eke this one out.
Oh boy. Alright. First game goes to Clad and Death.
That was so exceptionally tight as well. My goodness. These players know exactly what they're doing.
I actually honestly want to track down that Slosher and see if they stream, because their movements and just That was insane.
Yeah, chat agrees with you there. Just seeing the way they were able to dance around the zone, and that is not an easy zone to maneuver around, mind. Was very impressive. And an immediate counter pick. No time to waste.
They know what they're doing. They have a plan.
They have a favorite, I imagine.
Yeah.
Especially if it carried them through the last round as well. Very likely to continue that one forwards. But yeah, Mako Mart, we're not going to be seeing nearly as much long-range combat as we were there. I'd be very surprised to see the Splatling coming out here. We're going to get much closer and much scrappier.
I was a little bit behind there, so I have just shut down the stream and reopened it, so hopefully that's going to fix my lag issues. Chat, if you find me like commenting on something 5 seconds after it happens, please let me know. Yeah, we'll try and keep an eye on that.
Yeah, unfortunately we are still working with a few limitations, but for the most part, I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wrong about the weapon picks. They are pretty much exactly the same as they were last round. But I mean, power to them, Clad and Death, they know what works. They were able to get it the first round, why not run it again?
Yeah.
We do have
very early cap.
Yeah, very early cap indeed. They're not super aggressive with their positioning here. Which, I mean, to be fair, is Mako Mart. You can just play this one a bit safer. The Booyah Bomb placed very nicely there. They are able to get a bit more mileage out of their positioning, and they are down to a very nice score. However, Life are going to be able to take the cap back from their opponent there.
Yeah. This remix just sitting up here on the stack. Oh, yeah, we got the Booyah coming out as well. They're able to just do so much from that position.
I feel like I just feel like one flank though, especially one flank that isn't caught, like if they're too busy painting the zone, like the Cancer Slosh or the Anzac will just sneak up behind them and absolutely delete them. So they need to be very careful in that position. Yeah, I love these splash balls. A very aggressive splash ball there by the K-Gal. They were able to get one before they traded out. And that has extended their lead. Like, having a nuisance that far forward is really going to slow down your offensive push. Life really need to find a way around this. I'm not intended.
Those markers as well coming out, that's just making life so much harder with trying to get back in and get some points in the board. Even just stalling the zone. Oh, right. No, we had it back for a second there, but it's gone back to...
Yeah, I think that was partially a flank by the Soda Slosh as well. Yeah, the Soda Slosh getting nice and aggressive there, and wow, excellent spot by the remix.
Nice.
I think Clad and Death are going to be taking this one. Unless we see some last minute stop here, it's not going to happen. That is going to be the 2-0, Clad and Death taking that round and moving themselves through to the semi-finals.
Sarah's saying that Reef is the heavy, he's XP 3000 with it.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
There are a lot of players in these lobbies that are XP 3000. I had a little bit of a squiz at the team list earlier, and on average, we're seeing like 2800s, and yes, some 3000s, as just mentioned. There are some really high scoring players here. These players are dedicated. They get it done.
Yeah, jeez. Oh, Menshino does stream as well. Nice. All right.
Excellent.
Check that one out later.
We might need to assemble just a list of these, because I know I've seen a lot of them going live on Twitter and Area Cup. By the way, you can follow the Area Cup Twitter. They do retweet whenever their players go live, so you can check out all these players' streams. But yeah, some very powerful stuff there. I do have one replay, which I did particularly want to rewatch. Catching a Booyah Bomb with a bubble.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen this before. I knew in theory it could be done, but in practice, that was just such a power move. And I just need to appreciate the majesty of that for just a bit longer.
Yeah, I can't tell if they were specifically sitting here waiting for that to happen, like for the Booyah to potentially come out, or for this the enemy to overextend here.
Yeah.
They just seemed like they were just waiting for something, and they were prepared.
Absolutely, and the teammate armor coming in here as well, just to save them from the suction bomb. Like
they stayed alive for so long.
They were a very well coordinated team, but like just to show the caliber of these players, a play like this is not game winning. Shock horror, like that is crazy to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll move on from that. I can bring us back over to the bracket now. As we can see here, the Pool 6 winner, Clad in Death, have moved through to the semi-finals. They are the first team to make it to the semis. And they haven't been invincible thus far. They did drop around their early opponent. Oh, wait, no, that's not Pool 6. Right. They were in the 6th slot in the first set, and that's why there is a 6th next to them. That's how this works. Figuring it out.
Ah, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, with that out of the way, we are just going to wait on... I imagine we're going to be jumping into a semi-final match next. It'd be a bit difficult to jump into one of the quarterfinals here. But with that, we're moving through to best of 5 now. So we're going to be getting much more Splatoon action from these teams.
Yeah, and I feel like with the counter-picking strategy, you know, now you have a couple of chances. So if you counter-pick the first time and it doesn't work out for you at all, you potentially have another chance to counter-pick and try and pick something a bit more likely. Like you have a trial, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, ideally you don't lose any of your counter pick nets because they're so valuable. But yeah, having that safety net that hasn't been present for the whole tournament thus far is going to be critical when you're going up against teams that are like the top 4 out of 41 teams. Like that is a top 10 percentile scary nonsense that you don't want to be messing around with. So yeah, having the ability to feel out your opponent a bit more, maybe take a risk, maybe go for a map that you're like, I don't know if we're that good at this, but we're probably better than them, kind of risk. Just to throw opponents off that have got very specific strategies in mind.
There's always the you know, there can be a bit of psychology behind counterpicking, and sometimes purposely picking a map that you think neither of you will go too well on as a, you know, surprise the other team, hope that they don't have a strategy for it. And then of course there's playing it safe, picking a map that you're very, very sure you're going to win on. There's trying to particularly pick something against the other team, depending on how much information you have. There's so many ways that you can approach counterpicking. I honestly would love to know how a lot of these teams go about it, like what they're thinking. But yeah.
Absolutely. Just a shout out from chat as well. We have Shun Game 65 pointing out that Umako is winning as usual. I've just had a look at their team data and they're doing quite well. I just want to have a quick look at
Umako Kai. Yep.
Yeah, Umako Kai. They have been powering through this bracket. So they are doing quite nicely there. It looks like we are going to have a game here. It looks like we have an opponent at the very least. Let's see who this is.
Umako Kai was the team earlier I mentioned. Their little bio sentence was, "We want to win the first tournament after the patch." So, hey, they've got a goal in mind. They might
clearly
achieve
practiced for it as well. Like, props to them. They are doing quite well thus far. Okay, yeah, so I'm just looking. We do have 3 teams through now. Looks like from our first spectated match, who did we watch first?
Purity versus...
Oh, right. It was...
Purity versus Otafuku?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So it looks like... Wait, there's my data. Oh no, falling apart. That's okay, we have a room. We'll figure out who this is in just a moment. This just in. Data.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot of things to monitor.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it looks like...
Ooh. Alright. Umako Kai versus Clad in Death. So we get to watch Death again.
All
and
right.
yeah, up against Umako Kai.
Excellent.
Alright.
So yeah, we had the shout out for Umako Kai in chat earlier. I guess they're expected to win, potentially?
Yeah. I mean, that's... I think Skidder was saying that they've been winning every area cup. I assume they've probably won the last few then. There's a bit of... I wonder how Clad and Death are feeling about this match, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if they're known to be a winning team, then you'd be a bit daunted. But like, you don't make it this far by being a scrub. So
No.
I feel like there's a good chance that they can do something here. Let's have a quick look at Umako Kai's roster while we have a moment. This is Team Life. This is not the team that I asked for. There we go. No, maybe? Yeah, there we go. Yep. Excellent. So we have Melon, Shimepi, Riu-kun, Clicks, and that is it. They want to win the first tourney after the patch, as stated.
Yeah.
I imagine they've been practicing a lot since the patch as well. They might have changed their strategies accordingly. That's what that info tells me.
Yeah, I do wonder how much the patch would have affected their strategies. I don't know anything about these players. It looks like chat knows a bit about these players, if anyone wants to throw some facts out.
They have 3,000 XP players.
Yeah, that's scary.
That'd do it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so this is the team to watch. I mean, we're already at semi-finals now. This is best of 5, and there's only the grands after this. There are not many other players left in this tournament, and I've lost connection.
Oh no.
Hopefully everyone lost connection, and not just me. Okay, I don't see the room, so I'm gonna rule here that there is a good chance that everyone lost connection, and we need to remake the lobby. So we've got a bit more time.
Alright. Oh, we got Shimpy and Clicks, who I played Super Jump with 1. Nice, very nice. Here's VJet. Skidder, do you have something against VJet? Is this what's happening here?
No, there is nothing wrong with VJet. It is the best Rainmaker weapon, fight me. I know we're not playing Rainmaker today, but like, it is so good.
I think Terra's on your side there as well.
VJet is Toxic Mist and Tentamissiles, I believe. It's a bit brain dead, but it works very well at holding choke points, especially from a distance, which is why it is one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, I could definitely. I think I've made a couple of attempts at playing that just because of that kit. And yeah, definitely Rainmaker. I could see it working so well. And the Reza is also not a fan of VJet. All right, yep.
It's a very divisive one. I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand
it seems
divisive.
Everyone's either very much a fan or very much not. Like,
right.
Geostandard also not a fan, it seems.
Okay. I see how the evidence is mounting up. That's all right.
Clicks' XP is 2974. Yep. All right. So, I don't know if they've been counted in that the 3,000s we were talking about earlier, but that's close enough to count.
Yep, I count that. that counts. I know it's a lot closer than I've ever been. I'll tell you that for free.
Same. Oh boy, but it's like, I don't know. If you could, knowing all this about Umako Kai, knowing how many games they've won, the XP in the teams, etc. I feel like for any team who can take a game off them, unless you're usually in about their bracket, it would feel so good though.
It would be
if you go up against a team like that. Yeah, if you go up against a team like that and you actually take a game off them, I feel like that's always such a great feeling. And that kind of like morale boost can really carry you through a round or even a tournament. Like it's crazy what you can do if you get that early win, and then you just carry the momentum.
And it's only best of 5. Like this is semi-finals, so it is a bit longer than before. But if you get that one win, the second win can come that much easier. Especially because you have to go on your opponent's counter-picked map, so you need every advantage you can get going into it. If you get in your opponent's heads, if you get an early knockout, you can absolutely spook them and get that free point.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I've just realised I think this is the first time I've done commentary on the Oceanink Squids channel while holding the Oceanink Squids microphone on screen.
Oh?
Yeah, I got that little microphone.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah, I noticed you had the logo on that earlier. That is very cool.
Okay, I think we have a lobby now, and the random map has been very generous to us because it is a map that a lot of people do not like on Splat Zones. So I'm very excited for how this is going to go. Let's jump over to it. We have Camp Triggerfish as our round 1.
Alright.
it's divisive, and I understand why. It is very conducive to specific. Yeah, totally valid. Totally valid.
Chat, who's a fan of camp zones? I swear I liked it in Splatoon 1, but I feel like I liked it in Splatoon 1 because of the differences in the specials, and also because I just kind of did ridiculous things. It was kind of fun. Some of my teammates are very much fans of it.
I think I like it in Splatoon 2 because of the changes to the map. So, because it's a bit longer and there are a few more pathways between the areas, you can really, like, get your flanks on quickly. There's a lot of different strategies you can employ here, and there is, despite being such a short distance between the zones, such a long foot distance between the zones, that you really have to think about how you're positioning your team to effectively control both.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I've always struggled with is there's so many different ways you can position your team. And especially it depends on what weapons you play, that it's just, it's hard to strategize. And I find it hard to strategize against the opponent. So I'm keen to see what the teams do here. Absolutely. Oh, we have an X-Blush.
And a try as well. That's a double slosher combo. And for this map, I get it. I get it. We also have the Nozzle Nose D and a Rapid Pro is a very good pick for this map because there are a lot of specific points people like to stand on. So you can just throw them around a corner, target your splash damage onto those points, and sit nice and pretty. We've got Toxic Mist on the zone early. That's going to push the Heavy a bit further back, means they can't push on their opponent. I think it's just buying time. I think we had a few members go down on Umako Kai there. So they were just buying some time to get their team back in.
Yeah, we're already down to 75 points there, but they really don't seem concerned at all.
Yeah, we're just seeing like a lot of subs go out. We have double Inkjet ready to go. First one's out now. The second one's probably going to follow up as soon as the first one finishes. They're just chucking Toxic and Burst Bombs onto the zone. They're not really worried about pushing it yet.
Hating it. Yeah.
Maybe they just don't like this map and they're memeing? I don't 100% know. It's hard to tell when you don't know the players. But,
nice jump there.
Clad and Death definitely trying their hardest here. They're pulling out all the stops to shut this one out nice and quickly. And that early point means that you have that counterpick advantage should it go to game 5. So, definitely makes sense. Ooh, and a lovely trade there against the Inkjet. That is definitely going to put them in good stead. The Brio Bomb's going to all shut them out, and we're just seeing a little party. They're done.
Yeah, we had the 3 go down there, and it was just, what can you do at that point?
Yeah, round 1, just like that. You can see why people don't tend to play Splat Zones on this map, because it is a bit swingy. But also, it definitely seemed like Clad and Death just had an answer for that. They just knew exactly what they had to do to make that one work in their favor.
I feel like, I mean, the Heavy there was definitely just, they could just stand in one spot and paint both those zones early on. They very much, I think they did most of the painting early on there.
Okay, what we're getting from chat as well is that is their worst map. So, unfortunate, bad luck of the draw, but now they get the counter pick on the board. Hopefully they get something that they're a bit more attuned to. Yeah.
As usual, the randomizer is very mean.
It is a cruel mistress.
Is it?
Ooh, yes! New Albacore Hotel Zones. I love this map. It has a lot of the difficulties that Camp Triggerfish does, but it's oriented differently. Right? Like the approaches to the zones are on either side, not through one and then around to the other. So it's much easier to use that range difference, but it's not game-breakingly difficult. Like, there are many instances where you can jump over those little lazy rivers and get to your opponent if they're trying to range you out, which we did see very effectively from Clad and Death there.
Yeah. You also, I feel, there's less chance that you're going to die on the zone and accidentally cap it for the other team, just because you can get around it. So I feel like that means you don't have to play quite as careful. Obviously, dying on the zone is never a good idea.
Yes.
But, you know, if you can't avoid it, then at least this map gives you a little bit better chance.
Absolutely.
All right.
So Clad and Death, one weapon change there. They've got the very long Nozzle Nose D, as they did before, I think. And then we have the custom jet coming out here from Umako Kai. And already using it. How did they get it that quickly? Might have to check their abilities again just quickly. And yes, it is all special charge up as predicted. With a little bit of object shredder to boot. I like that a lot. I wonder what they're picking that for specifically. Maybe their opponent's splash walls? They do have a Kensegal. That could be a specific pick for that. Oh, and bubbles as well. Their team's running bubbles, of course. Okay, excellent. Yes. Umako Kai are able to get control now. They have one pick on the board. If they could get another, they're probably in a good place to get a score advantage. And they do. The Kensegal flanks the heavy remix. And Shimapai also gets that splat, which means they are well on their way to the lead and a good score margin, especially if they can play aggressively like they are now.
Yeah, we got the Stingray coming out once again. Looks like it's aiming very specifically for someone. Did get a splat there by the look.
Yeah, and it looks like Clad and Death are just having a hard time setting up here. This is definitely... You can tell this is a favorite map for Umako Kai. Like, they know exactly where to play this, they know which players are going to be where, and they know exactly where their opponent is going to want to go, which is that critical next step in really shutting them away from the zone. We have two specials coming out here from Clad and Death in a last-ditch effort to grab the zone. A lovely jump around the side of the map, just to try and... Oh no, but unfortunately not quite able to do it on the way back. It seems they took a bit too much ink damage, and that prevented them from staying up. So that is going to be Umako Kai taking their counter pick. As expected, I would say.
Yeah, they locked that down.
Yeah.
So well.
I mean, interestingly enough, the Jet, because they were the Stingray farm, they were able to play the back line, get all the turf they needed from there, and catch out any flanks, which is something the other team didn't have a spare role for. All of their players were dedicated to a different role, so they didn't have anyone on flank watch, which is why the K-Gal was able to get a splat on the bridge over, I presume. Wasn't caught on spectator cam, but I'm going to presume they got one on the bridge over, and then they were able to sneak up on the heavy remix, and that kind of pulled out the defensive line like a house of cards.
Yeah. It is... One thing I found with this map is it feels like there's a lot of approaches to the zone, but sometimes you really can get locked out. Absolutely, if you just don't have quite the right weapon, quite the right strategy.
Well, I think what it is there's a lot of approaches, but there are only a few that are actually good for the kit and composition your team is running. So if your opponent can identify which ones those are, they can shut you out in no time, because they're either leaving you with bad options or dead options.
Yeah.
I do also have a replay of that lovely movement around the block there. Unfortunately, I did also catch the not so lovely movement on the way back. I'm sure we'll catch the yeah, so they were able to get that jump around there, but they took a single bit of splash damage on the way back, and that prevented them from making that jump over.
Didn't quite match.
Unfortunately, I don't know how much good it would have done at that point regardless, because just looking at the rest of the team there, we can see like the bubbles were coming out across the main approach. We had armor for Umako Kai. They knew exactly what they were doing. There was no approach angle for Clad and Death to surprise them from.
Yeah, it was so far down on the points at that point that didn't have much time to even get in and paint the zone, really. No. So, Tara's saying Terrara is a XP 3000 mini player, usually.
Oh, interesting. We haven't seen a mini so far tonight. I wouldn't mind seeing a mini. I do enjoy a good mini splatling at a time, but I feel like... And people are probably going to tell me that this is right or wrong, but I feel like it's an underplayed weapon because it doesn't have the best kit. I really like the mini, and I play it a lot for modes where I want to get up in people's faces, but also get that good turfing output. But yeah, I feel like it is considered weak in the meta, and that's why it doesn't get a lot of picks.
Interesting. I mean, what would you say would be its best mode? Because I don't play mini. I would have assumed if you're going to play it on any mode, zones would probably be the better. But yeah, no, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah, especially because when I play mini, like it's a splatling that can paint its own path. Like it does, because of how quickly you can get a spin up. If you need to quickly escape something, you can quick paint like you would with a shooter. And also like the subs are usually like, I think one of them has curlings and one of them has. Oh, this is really testing my knowledge here. Nope, not going to come up with it. It's been too long. But I know the main reason I play Mini as well is that one of them has an Ultra Stamp. And
Yep.
that's my branding, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair.
Yeah. So
Mikey, same.
yeah.
I only played Zimmy in Splatoon 1, I think. I think I played the other one briefly, but, you know, Zimmy was the thing. And yeah, when they didn't bring back like the exact same thing in Splatoon 2, I was just like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's Splatoon 1 Zimmy or nothing for me. So
Fair enough.
Burst Bomb, Toxic Mist are the other variants. Right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I knew there was a quick painting weapon, but yeah. Thanks for the info there, chat. It has been a while since I've gone back to a Mini, I guess.
Yeah. For anyone who has joined us, seeing a few new names in here. Yes, this is the Area Cup Plus tournament.
Yes.
So this is a Japanese tournament. We're just doing an English commentary stream because we were lucky enough that they approached us about this. So, yeah, big tournament. There is one Oceanic team in it. And a couple other international teams, I think, but mostly Japanese teams here.
Yeah, I don't believe any of those made it out of the pools, unfortunately. So I don't think we'll be seeing any of those tonight, especially because we're already up to the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Okay, the counter
And we're
pick
seeing Mako
was-
again.
Yeah, Mako. I mean, it makes sense. It's a very fun map. A lot of people like this for zones. But I feel like this is going to be... Both teams are going to be good at this, right? Like, I don't imagine this is going to give a significant advantage to Clad and Death. They might have been better with a bit more of an off-the-wall pick. That being said, Clad and Death, they do have the early lead here. Taking 2 down is going to get them at least 20 points on the board while the opposing team reinforces themselves and gets that inbound ready to go. Booyah Bomb's coming out as well. That's going to land on the zone and should establish a neutral with a bit of assistance. It does. 3 Booyah Bombs in succession.
Yeah.
Right there.
And I think that third one there, they were holding it. Like, I think they saw the second Booyah come out from Umako Kai, and then they just decided to hold theirs. It seemed like.
I mean, Clad
Wait for that to
Death
clear.
definitely picking this for a good reason. It seems like they have a nice scramble strategy here. Their opponent doesn't really have... as soon as, like, I mean, it's good teamwork and coordination when you can just call out where your opponents are deciding to enter from, and then quickly just swarming them. That's definitely what we're seeing here, is a very effective swarming strategy. We have 3 weapons here that can move very quickly. The heavy, obviously, is going to be hanging back, just making sure it gets Booyah and painting the zone. The other 3, they are going ham.
Yeah, I'm really liking this movement we're seeing here from the NZAP. Just sort of dancing around the zone, not getting themselves in too much trouble at any point, but making sure things are painted, making sure they're a bit of a nuisance. We do have those missiles coming out now, which is pushing a couple of players back here. Nice work with the missiles. And this is fairly locked in now by Umako Kai. They've got a lot of blue coming out. They've got a Booyah coming out here. Just holding it, waiting for the right opportunity. Decided to Booyah stacks. I did get someone with that. Nice. Click's coming around here, trying to get a pick. Doesn't quite manage it. Oh, that zone, it goes back. Goes back to Clad and Death there. Very nice. Alright. Now we've got a bit of a penalty on both teams here. Like, fairly
Score is
even,
very
but...
close. Absolutely. With only, like, a significant penalty on both sides, both teams missing players, it's a good opportunity here. It looks like Umako Kai is going to be the one to take this opportunity to just have the zone and fight off zone and really increase their score margin with that. Booyah Bomb tries to pick out the back but doesn't land anyone. It looks like Umako Kai are going to be able to get through that penalty here and start hammering into their opponent's score.
Yeah. I am finding the Booyah Bomb placement very interesting. So I feel like, at least in solo queue, I'm used to seeing it be placed on the zone a lot.
It might be
and I'm not
a
sure.
thing. I think it might be like slowing your opponent from re-entering so that they can take less fights, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
By separating their team with a Booyah Bomb, they can fight in larger numbers and make sure that their opponent isn't able to counterattack straight away. That's my theory at the very least. We do have another penalty put on the board. 2 players down on either side. Make that 3 from Clad in Death. They've got only their heavy remix left, which is not a weapon who wants to be alone. And they are hunted and taken out as well. It's looking very good for Umako Kai here. We have a minute 30 left. They already have some bubbles ready to go to slow their opponent down, who does not have much in the way of positioning at the moment. They are going to use Booyah Bomb and Armor to try and buy themselves some space back in. See how effective that is very shortly.
Yeah, we had those bubbles coming out again. Oh, nice one splat there from Oceanink. The other Booyah coming out
they
there.
Only
But
hold
so
for a little
close.
bit more time, and the Booyah Bomb is going to secure it.
Yeah.
We saw that that line there dancing between going neutral, but the Booyah Bomb definitely helped in stabilizing the zone and allowing Umako Kai to take their second round. That is going to put them on match point for the semi-finals here. I'll put a little note up the top to say it's first to three for people who are just joining in. We are very close to finding out who is going to be our first grand finalist. We don't have any results from the other side of the bracket yet, so you're going to see it here first.
Don't know which team is which. We'll have to try and point out which colour's which.
Yes.
For next game. But
ideally, we can get that one at the start when before AutoSpec starts flipping it around. We do have Alpha on the left here and Beta on the right. So I can guarantee that Umako Kai is our Alpha team. So if you look at the start, they will be the team on the left side of the screen, and Clad and Death will be the team on the right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, the Octobrush getting that patch recently. That would be huge if any of these teams were running an Octobrush. But I don't think they are.
No, we definitely haven't seen any tonight yet.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to seeing an Octobrush, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which map you would run it for. Like, maybe one of the ones that wouldn't get picked. So, like, maybe if you're playing... What's the one I'm thinking of with the parking lot? Moray Towers. If you're playing Moray Towers, maybe you could run a brush there. I could see that being effective. Anyway, we are going to Inkblot. This is Clad in Death's second and final counter pick. They will not get another one of these. So they better hope that they take this one out and then they can win Umako Kai's counter pick as well. That's all they have to do to get to Grand Final. Simple, right? Just win your counter pick, win their counter pick. That's it. It's done.
Sounds so simple when you put it that way.
So simple. And yet we have seen Umako Kai are such a powerful force. When teams play at this high a level, the lines where strategies are become a bit blurred. It's a lot easier to see what a team's strategy is when there's a bit of a mismatch, right? Because you can see how a team is beating the other team. But because this is so back and forth, like we had a moment in the last match where it was pretty much 50-50 remaining, it's very hard to see what these teams are focusing on. But hopefully we can get a bit of an idea from these weapon comps with a Sorella coming out from Clad in Death in the green. We have Umako Kai in the purple.
Interesting. Umbrella Bucket ends up splatling there.
Yeah,
I'm really curious to see how...
Jet as well. Definitely not a map you want to have a Stingray on, so I do like to see it. Hopefully they can land these shots. Though that being said, we have the Soda Slusher here, which is able to use those angles that the Jet can't. And that's what's pushed them back here. The Jet has had to retreat quite far, which is going to give Clad in Death quite the early scoreline. That being said, they had an early scoreline last time, and it didn't end up working out for them. So we'll see if they can keep this momentum.
Yeah, that Jet's range there has been so helpful. I think it can be a bit of cover fire for the gal, which is nice
very
for the
handy
teamwork.
to have that extra bit of cover fire so you can keep your movement up while you're being shot at without having to worry about it.
We did have 2 down on both teams for a moment there, so I was wondering if anything would happen from it, but it doesn't seem like it does. It is.
Kentaga's able to take out the aggressive Soda Slusher, and that is going to be huge because if they lost that positioning, they would have lost their plat. And once your opponent takes plat, they're not going to be able to reach the zone until they clear you out. So a very clutch defense there, and they're going to be able to continue that with the Booyah Bomb. In fact, they have 3 specials ready to go. Sensor Missiles go first. That's going to give them the recon they need. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Booyah Bomb following very shortly. Yes, there it goes there. It's going to land right on top of Plat. We do have a neutral, but it looks like we are going to see the continuation from Umako Kai if a penalty could be applied right now for Clad and Death, they'd be setting themselves up for a great second half of this match. But they have to push fast if they're going to get that to happen, because there is only 5 points the difference.
Yeah, that's really not much. It's a few seconds, really, and we're already counting down. We're already past it. It's a lead for Umako Kai.
And a huge penalty sitting on Clad and Death as well. Whereas Umako Kai, dangerously close to that KO. We've still got over half of the match to go in terms of that timer. It's looking pretty done and dusted. Do Clad and Death have an answer to this? Will the Booyah Bomb do it for them?
We have quite a bit of paint coming out here, and then the Booyah, we got to counter Booyah as well. It's still...
Ooh.
Oh, lost control.
So much paint, they've done it!
Nice!
They've managed to just sneak in there, and that is going to be a huge penalty on their opponent. That's going to prevent a KO for a good amount of time, and with only the end zap left here, Clad and Death are set to get some points and clear out their opponent. They do manage to find the jump out as well. That is going to set them in very good stead here. 2 minutes to play with. They can afford to be a bit defensive here. They don't have to have control the whole time. They're probably going to focus on specials and countering their opponent's rush when it comes out here.
Yeah, it does seem very much like the end up here is just focusing on keeping the zone painted. They're throwing bombs, being a little bit of a nuisance, but they're really not doing much more except just inking. Which is probably a good strategy here, because they really need to not lose, especially at 16 left.
Yeah,
they did have a very good come out. Nice splat.
They
That's
absolutely
3 down.
Oh, if they get this ends up, they've got it in the bag. In fact, they might have it already anyway. The KO looks all but inevitable. And they've won. Clad and Death have won Umako Kai's counter pick.
Oh boy. Alright.
It's just that easy. Like, explained it at the start. That was such a long distance to go. Like, they had a good opening score, and honestly, I think Umako Kai probably let them get away with a bit too much at the start there. And that made it a little bit easy for Clad and Death to close it out. But also, the fact that they were able to get those splats again and again on their offensive line, that is something we haven't seen from Clad and Death yet. We know they like to play aggressive, but we haven't seen them stand up against Umako Kai's defense. I'm gonna assume that maybe their weapon changes threw them off a bit. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. It is now match point for both of these teams. Umako Kai to pick the map. It seems they don't have any guaranteed picks remaining, so it's going to come down to a bit of a chance. We'll see how it goes.
Ooh.
The Reef.
Reef, okay.
Very open, very traditional.
Yep.
We like to see it.
The classic map.
Okay.
I wonder how they're going to play this one.
Time will tell. I don't imagine we're going to see too many weapon changes. I think that's been a running theme throughout the stream so far, is that teams don't change their weapons that frequently. They know what works, they know how to play these maps. Usually you have 1, maybe 2 players flexing. The rest are going to be sticking to their literal guns. Well, in some cases, guns. Literal buckets, as it were.
Yep. Tara's saying that Reef is the counter they always choose. Okay,
Ooh,
so...
Okay, Tara with the inside knowledge.
Yeah, it must be very confident on this one, I would say.
Custom Jet I'd be surprised by. I'm just reading chat here for the weapon predictions. I don't know if it's that good of a Stingray map. Like, considering that the zone is underneath a lot of the map, you can't target that and your opponent's stand. It'd work well for lockout strategy, but I don't know if it's the most flexible special we could see here. I definitely am expecting Booyah Bombs to persist though, especially with this one. Whenever you've got a tilted zone, Booyah Bomb is just that much more effective. It paints that much easier, and these zones are small. You could easily cap on with the
really
Booyah
are.
Bomb.
There are so many ways to cap these zones just because of how tiny they are compared to so many other maps. And that bridge over the top. There's so much you can do from there. So, alright, we got the brawler once again.
Yeah, weapon changes are minimal. We do have the custom jet. Correct prediction in chat. I was the one who was incorrect on that one. But also the Splash Neo coming out. I know Splash Neo is quite popular for Splat Zones, but I don't believe we've seen it that much on stream so far. So it's nice to see it getting some representation. It is taken out early, but it may come into use later on, we'll see.
Yeah, we did have 2 go down there on Hard and Death. Yeah, let me figure out which team's which again.
Okay. I did miss it at the start, but it appears that we have Clad and Death in blue here, yes.
Yes, okay, cool, yeah.
Excellent. So yes, Clad and Death, early lead, but they've already lost 3 players here. And honestly, I think that's going to set them back further than that lead has put them. We do have the ink armor for the re-entry, but we'll see if that is all they need to get in. They might need a little bit extra. The opponent is holding on to 3 specials right now. It's going to be very hard for Clad and Death to make an entrance with that. And they've all come out at once.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying...
Booyah Bomb's holding, and the armor is in position as well. Just waiting for that moment. Very clever play here by the Brella to hold their bomb rush until the Booyah Bomb was thrown. But unfortunately taken out by a Heidi Neo Splash. Those Neo Splashes are very good at picking a tiny sharking spot, popping out and deleting you before you get a chance to make a big move. So being played very well there. Looking at the splats across the board, it's pretty even at the moment, and scoreline is fairly even as well, I'm gonna say, with a 50-point penalty.
Yeah.
I feel like it's quite close at the moment.
We do have that Stingray coming out now from basically spawn.
I'm still not 100% sure on that one. I know I shouldn't question the 3000 XP player from my measly 2000 XP seat, but like, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I was wondering if they were going to combo it with the special from someone else in the team. But I didn't see any other specials that time around, so... But, hey, it might yet still happen. We might have some grand plan in mind. We do have the Stingray coming out again, though. This bucket just does not seem to care.
Absolutely
whatsoever.
Not. We've seen great movement from the Soda Slusher so far, and like, look at the way they're ducking around here. Several suction bombs, and they're just shrugging it off. It's fine. Ink Armor comes out as well for both teams, though it seems to work much more in the favor of Umako Kai, who take down 2 of their opponent before the armor can step in. That is going to set them in a good stead. A decent penalty now in place. It's going to make it very hard for Clad and Death to push through here with 2 minutes left. It's not impossible, but it's looking tough.
Oh, that Stingray kill onto the jump out there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
As I
did
mention, the Stingray very effective for lockouts on this map because you can see everywhere your opponent is standing. So if they try and jump out or if they try for slow push, you can just wipe them off the field. And it can get very infuriating, honestly, to get taken out that far away from the battle. So it kind of works a bit for mind games as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, another penalty
some nice jumps. Oh, that bomb.
Very good burst bomb, knowing exactly where that opponent was going to be. Another very good burst bomb. Look at this. You know what, actually? That's why you picked the custom jet. I hadn't put it together, but Toxic Mist can't do that. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, amazing results there. Umako Kai, they're primed for a KO here if they can keep this momentum up. Booyah Bomb's going to make it a bit harder for them to do that. Clad and Death looking for an entry point. Don't know if they're going to be able to find one in time, especially because their specials are coming out a bit sporadically at this point. They might be feeling a bit pressured here. After all, this is make or break. The tensions are at the highest they have ever been.
Oh my goodness, survived that somehow, but that basically wastes the bomb rush there, I feel. Weren't able to get that on the zone.
It also prevents them from getting to the zone entirely. There is only 1 member left
for Clad
and Death. I think that is going to be it. Umako Kai, with the 3-2, are going to be taking that one to the grand finals. It was incredibly close between these 2 teams. From what I was hearing from chat, I thought this was going to be much more one-sided. This is amazing.
That was really good to watch
as well. Like, my goodness.
Yeah, I think basically double splats on Umako Kai to Clad and Death there, which, we definitely were seeing that.
Yeah, I think that comes down to a matter of mindset as well. We saw Umako Kai not as hard focused on the zone because they didn't need to be, right? Like they had a lot of momentum going into that, and they had a decent lead, so they were much more focused on catching their opponent out than doing anything with the zone. Like, they could always get it back, they can always work through a penalty. Time and time again, they proved that they could do it, and they managed to get it out. 5 burst rushes as well. Thank you for pointing that out next. That's crazy. That's too much. I'll just check if I captured any replays during that match. I don't think I did. It was very full on. No, I do have one, but we've already seen it. It was this lovely movement from earlier, so we don't need to watch that again.
Yeah.
We'll just jump back
we don't
to our bracket here. Oh, nope, I've taken too long. I have shame to play at that point. Okay. So our bracket is nearly complete. We have but the grand finals to go. It's just a best of 5, just like we just saw. So this could really go to anyone.
Yeah, I think we have. So that would be. I think is that Purity? Yeah, Purity versus. Oh.
It is definitely Purity because we watched them win the earlier set. But yeah, I don't know.
Shin game. Purity is Chocopero's team. If I
excellent.
remember correctly. So yes. That would be the team at the very top of the semi-finals there. I am currently too tired to read katakana, so
Right,
try to read
I
the...
mean, I can try and figure it out. So to set 3... Oh, I can move it around. Ooh.
Wait, is that the Don't Use Charger team? Please tell me that's the Don't Use Charger team. I think it is.
Oh my goodness, really?
Oh, yes!
Don't Play Charger is our other semi-finalist? That's amazing.
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's the Don't Use Charger team, who I've been really wanting to see. So,
You may indeed get that chance.
yeah. I just want to see if... I would be very amused with their name being Don't Use Charger if they actually run a charger.
Just as the mind game, just be like, oh, don't use Charger, and then they rock up with 2 chargers, and it's like, what is this? We can quickly...
So if anyone has...
Oh, yeah, go for it.
If anyone in chat has any questions about the team names or the players or anything, the Area Cup staff did help us, and we have English translations, or at least like literal translations in some cases of everything, team names, player names, everything. So yeah, if you have any questions, we can attempt to answer them.
So yeah, this is the lineup for Don't Use Charger here.
Reimaru, Negora, Momo, Haruto, and we'll have to try our best as their
I
little
love it's
fire
not
thing.
we will try our best, it's we'll have to. We'll have to make it work.
But they've done so well.
They
If
really
they're,
have.
Like
Their
they're in the
best is
semi-finals.
Quite incredible.
Yeah.
I have joined a lobby as well. I think it might be the other semi-final potentially. Could be wrong on that, but we will find out shortly. And then our other team here, the one we spectated from the start, we'll get the team info up just because we haven't... it's been a while since we've had it up. What was the team again?
Purity.
Purity, excellent. Purity has multiple players that we recognized from different tournaments. So yeah, there's Chocopero there. Suryu as well. I recognize from Lobster Crossfire. If you've watched my channel and seen those streams, you'll know Suryu as a devastating player. And yeah, they have been bringing it quite strongly as well. They were able to take their quarterfinal match 2-0, whereas we Don't Use Charges have had a bit of a rougher climb through it. Potentially some tougher opponents. So we'll see how that pans out. Okay, I'm in a turf war lobby right now, so I'm not sure exactly what to think about that.
Let me ask our friends from Area Cup.
Yeah, I imagine we're probably just waiting for the semi-final to conclude. That would be my understanding. So if we hear something else, that's good too. So chat, we hope you've been enjoying the Area Cup here. This is something we would like to do a bit more frequently, is bring you tournaments from across the globe. Luckily this one is at a reasonable time as well, so we can stream it for you. It's a bit harder for some of the American tournaments, unless you want to be up at 4 AM. I know I'm not particularly interested in that.
Yeah, no. Nope, that one's... I'm not doing that again.
No. But yeah, if this is something that you're interested in and you have a contact that can reach out to us, we are looking to bring you as much Splatoon content as we can as we lead up to Splatoon 3 at some point next year.
Yeah, definitely going to be talking to the Area Cup team after this and see if they're willing to let us do this again, because
We probably won't do
I'm
the
definitely
next
keen.
one, but
no.
I mean,
Maybe, you know,
we'll
every
see,
now and then.
We'll see. Yeah, we might be able to bring
So-
this one to you every now and again, because like these players are so good. Like it has been such a spectacle to watch this event today. And if you did miss some of the earlier matches, please check out the VOD after this is over. We have seen some
Yeah.
absolutely intense matches. All of these have been close. We haven't had any landslides on stream. So definitely have a look at that when you get the chance.
Only 3100.
Ah, yes.
I wish I was only 3100. I would be very happy with that, must say. So, there you go. There's some info from Area Cup team.
Lovely. Oh no.
Alright. Shungame, you said they've won the Area Cup before. Who was that? By the time I read it, I think we'd moved on. I lost track of which team you're talking about.
It's been mentioned that Umako Kai have won the Area Cup a few times.
Yeah, I think we were looking at Don't Use Charger at the time, maybe? And Skidder, you were talking about heavy players. Who was that? Don't Use Charger. So they've won Area Cup before. Okay.
Oh, okay. So we've got 2 returning champions here at least.
I would love to see, data on, well, possibly not all the previous Area Cups, because this is Area Cup 57. So there's been a few tournaments. But yeah, I've seen, some of Gamba Wumi's stats through now and then, but I haven't really been following as closely as I kind of wish I had been.
Right.
But it definitely sounds like a lot of these teams have sort of for revenge a little bit. Don't Use Charge, we've won it twice. Nice. All right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just a few
okay.
salty. Just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple. I mean, there have been a lot of events, so it makes sense that we would see quite a few returning champions. In fact, yeah, I'm just checking the spreadsheet now here, and Don't Use Charger won Area Cup 49 by the looks of things, and Morozumi have a second place in 37, 47, 50, but I don't believe they're in anymore. I think they've been knocked out.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay, I have a game here. I would love if you could confirm for me which teams we're looking at. Because I'm not 100% certain.
Norisuke, not Umako Kai or Clad and Death.
Okay.
Who is Norisuke?
So,
Purity is Alpha.
okay, great. Excellent stuff. Get that in now. Oh, alright. That's not doing what it's meant to do.
And yes, Don't Use Charger is definitely Bravo team. So, alright, here we go.
Okay. So, chat, you'll have to bear with me for a moment. The application has done a thing that I don't exactly understand.
No.
Oh dear, yes. No, I've lost team data.
No.
CSV seems to edit itself as it goes. And sometimes loses teams. Maybe because I set it up wrong. I'm gonna say this is my fault, but I'm also gonna very quickly just type everything in. So, give me a moment, chat. I have the data and I have the power to fix it.
Yes, it's been a bit of a crash course in how to use these overlays.
Absolutely.
For anyone who has never seen behind the scenes of overlays for this kind of tournament, Area Cup have a program that Yessoan is using to actually manage what's on screen, and it has all these data files and images and such behind the scenes. Similar to what Oceanink does, actually.
Yes.
But, alright, we are going to Splat Zones, of course,
Excellent.
on this map.
Okay, I've almost got all the information ready. But in the meantime, yeah, Wahoo World. Not a fan?
No, very. I thought I'd like it, but there's something about the way the zone is shaped and the approaches to it, which I've always found difficult.
Right. Fair enough.
There is a lot of ways that people can flank, I find. Oh, we already have 3 down as well. I think is orange Purity. Let me check. Green is Purity.
Green is Purity and green is the left team. Great, that makes sense. Alright, I've almost got all the data on the overlays. Chat, thank you for bearing with us. In the meantime, Calamar will do
Yep. Alright, so Bio coming out here onto the zone. A couple of specials, I think. Oh, nice. Nice work by the heavy there. 2 splits in a row. Going around trying to get a third, it seems, but they've... Oh, no, not escaping. There we go. There's another splat. That is scattered 3 down. Purity there. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I am getting my teams. Oh my
Excellent.
goodness.
I believe I have everything up to date now. Great.
Cool. Oh, nice sprinkler plate. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and it seems super obvious now that I've seen it. We do have Umrus coming out from both teams, but look at that. So Zone is going back full split. It's still in favor of don't use Charger here.
Yeah, it's a good map for a Blob Lava deco. Like, getting those suction bugs around, there are so many good sprinkler placements, and the way that your shots bounce around in the zone can just mean that you paint the zone more effectively, and your opponent can't stand there while you watch it. So both teams electing to choose that very wisely. But it looks like don't use Charger are in with the stronger positioning here. They just haven't been able to, it seems like Purity haven't been able to kick him out yet. I wonder if they'll try and flank to make that happen.
Yeah, they do keep capping it and then getting the penalty onto don't use Charger at least, but they're just not holding it here. We do have an Inkjet coming out. Seem to be trying to sneak around the back a little bit, see if they can get some hits there.
The Dually Squelch is also going for a flank around the back, but getting caught by the heavy remix before they can make any splats happen. So it looks like we are seeing Purity try to get around their opponent, but they're just not quite able to make it land a lot of the time.
Yeah, they're definitely don't use Chargers doing very well here. Watching their backs and getting the picks and holding the zone. It's definitely been difficult for Purity to get enough points on the board here to get a lead, but they're still trying. They're definitely trying to get back in.
Oh, that Booyah Bomb's going to be so annoying as well. With a really high throw, that's going to just buy them even more time here, shutting down that runway. Yeah, at this point, Purity are able to get 3 players down. I was about to say, they are having a hard time moving forward, but Suryu on those Dually Squelches manages to get that double pick and is already storming the opponent's fortress now that they're in control. And this kind of offense for Purity we've seen work quite well. If they can just take the fight away from the zone, they don't have to worry about keeping it controlled while fighting. So, see how long they can hold it for. They need to not go down for this to work. And the players are playing very evasively. It seems to be working very well so far.
Yeah, oh, there we go. We did have the Jilly Swatches go down there. Unfortunately, we've got 2 down now.
Neutral for only a moment, and that is going to be a lead take by Purity, who did not get a single penalty throughout that push, which is the benefit of their strategy. Oppositely, it comes with its own risks, but not having to constantly battle against penalties like their opponent did means they were able to take the lead much quicker than their opponent.
Yeah. Oh, it does go back though.
Yeah, Purity going 3 down, which means that don't use Charger are now in a good position to take that back. Penalty's not huge and the score gap isn't huge, but the timer isn't huge either. So with only 2 specials in the dream, we're gonna have to make this work.
We've got 3 specials on oh my goodness, don't use Charger now, just hold them. Oh no, we got them coming out. Inkjet, Inkama.
Yeah, Purity throwing the missiles, throwing the armor.
Oh, that zone!
They've managed to get the player advantage, but if they can't get penalty on the board, it won't matter. They do! Purity get the penalty! They were able to just balance the zone and the fights there. That was a very good play. Probably a game-winning play, if I had to guess. With only 20 seconds left and a 39-point penalty for don't use Charger, it's going to be a hard one for them to take back.
Yeah, they really need to rush in right now and get a lot of ink down, but they've got 2 down now. I don't think a Blob and a Heavy can... Oh, maybe we do got a Rio coming out. Yes. That might take... Yes! That did take... Alright, we got overtime. That bomb rush coming out there, though. Yeah.
Immediately over. Like, it was a great overtime play, and they did very well on that. But as soon as we got Purity online, we had 2 players swim up onto the walls and just delete. Don't use Charge a member after don't use Charge a member. There was no one left to hold the zone into overtime. Very well played by both teams, but like yeah, I mean, what a powerful ending to that match.
Yeah, and just looking at those splats at the end there, I feel like I'd have to go back to look to make sure, but I feel like we've been seeing much lower numbers of splats for a lot of these games. Whereas I think all of those players just then were double digit, and a couple of them were very close to 20.
Yeah, we have been seeing teams like holding lines a lot more and playing evasively, but these teams just butt heads. Like we saw Purity members just getting into the grooves of don't use charger, and for the first half of the match, they weren't able to successfully get in those grooves. Like we did see several attempted flanks, but there was such a solid hold of the middle that even though they kept getting those penalties stacked on, don't use charger maintained the hold. And if they were able to do that for the, obviously if they're able to do that for the entire match, that's all they needed to do to win. They were playing it nice and safe, they didn't take any risks, and it got them quite far. Be interesting to see with a counter pick what map they will choose to use that strategy more effectively. And making the zone inaccessible. Yeah, that makes sense. If the zone is harder to get to, it's easier to play safe.
Yeah. Did we see this with... No, we saw different teams on Albacore before, didn't we?
Yeah, we haven't seen either of these teams on Albacore yet. So this will be new. I don't think we'll see too many weapon changes. Again, I think we're seeing pretty solid locked-in compositions from these teams. But I'm always open for a surprise, you know? Remember when there was a K-Pro on every team? I feel like that's more of a Western thing, but...
Yeah, I don't know if Japan ever did that.
No, I don't think they
did. Chat, anyone know?
Yeah, chat would be able to tell me. Like, it was in every team for a very long time, but...
Yeah, I'm glad we're past that one.
Me too. Me too.
Alright, Albacore zones. Let's see what we got here. Alright.
Some pretty decent weapons here. No significant changes. We have the Nozzle Nose D coming out again. It's a popular choice for this map because you do get that reach that you don't get out of traditional shooters, which you do need if you're defending Cross River on this map. And again, how quickly that Stingray comes out.
One down already with that?
Me every time.
Yeah.
No, the heavy remix went down. That's actually 2 members down for Don't Use Charger at the moment. 2 down on both sides, rather. It's going to be very scrappy and back and forth for a few minutes here as these teams sort out their positioning. Everyone's kind of isolated. We do have a jump out there from Purity, which is going to make things a bit easier to follow. But, yeah, it's just going back and forth here.
It's interesting to me that Momo here hasn't even left their side of the map yet. Hasn't even tried to get across the zone. Just sitting back, using the Ray, painting the zone.
That's what we saw from the other team as well, is that you can get Ray very easily back there, and you're on flank defense. Like that was the key role that we saw from the players there, so it'll be interesting to see if they ever do leave that area. I don't think they have much reason to.
No, and it's definitely something you need on this map, so I don't think anyone's playing that role on the other team. I think they have pushed forward now. I think we're seeing 2 of the members that don't use Charger going around the side area. Oh my goodness, that Squeezer landing every shot on that person. I'm gonna get a replay of that. We're gonna watch that one back later. That very good. Yes, please. Alright, Bubbles coming out here on the zone against that one.
Ooh, the Booyah Bomb was going to provide cover, but it didn't because the bubble was able to burst inside it. That is not something you see every day. That is going to be Purity in control once again. And look at that splat number. That is 7 splat assists on that Squeezer in less than 2 minutes. That is some spicy plays. Okay, we do have the push from Don't Use Charger here. They've got the Booyah and the side flank around. Looks like their frontline defense has gone down, but the backline has snuck through. Suryu trying to get around here and get those picks. Look at that aim. Just expert evasion. Able to get one, but the flank does catch them. Don't Use Charger through the penalty and rapidly approaching that winning scoreline.
Yeah, they only need another 15-20 seconds on that to take the lead. They do lose control though. I'm not quite sure what's happening there, unfortunately, but that has gone back to the other team. We got Booyah coming out here.
I love
Are they going to use it on the zone, or...?
The Booyah just waiting for that opportune moment. Like, you don't need to throw it until the time is up, and really, like, you don't want to waste it, so the patience is just incredible. And we're also seeing a lot of splash wall stalling here. A very good way to keep a dually sponsors at bay is to just put a wall in between the two of you. It definitely drew the members of Purity around and wasted a bit of their time. Unfortunately for Don't Use Charger, they weren't in control while that was happening, because that would have been some pretty points if they were.
Yeah, it was a bit of a distraction, possibly, that they could have used that player elsewhere to take the zone. But we are down through penalty, we are down to 15 points now.
Rapidly approaching that KO line, the Booyah Bomb might be able to stall it out, but no, the entire team on Don't Use Charger is wiped. We didn't see it happen. We saw a Booyah Bomb and we're like, here comes the push, and then the dust settled and there was no one there.
And there was a nozzle nose painting under the Booyah, and yeah.
Oh,
see, that's the thing with Booyah, is if it doesn't catch someone and you throw it at a zone, there are quite a few weapons in this game which can paint almost as well as it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because the Booyah doesn't paint that well. Like, it can paint slowly over time, and on a ramped surface, it catches more and does more paint, but on a flat surface like that, it's just not going to paint the zone as much, especially when there's one player counter-turfing. It's not going to grab the zone. Unfortunately, they didn't really have much time, so they kind of had to go for that.
Yeah, there wasn't much else they could do there.
Let's have a quick look at those squeezer plays as well, while we have a moment, because I definitely want to see these shots. So we're watching the squeezer here. They have great map knowledge. We can see the callouts coming out as well because they know exactly where to track that player. All of those shots hit.
Nice.
And they're able to get someone under the bridge as well. Like, that is a well-played squeezer. They are just dancing around the zone, picking off anyone at a distance, and they've got decent turfing as well, so they can counteract all the specials that were coming in. Like, that's the kind of aim you get at 3000 XP.
I can definitely see how. Oh yeah, I can definitely see how squeezes gimmick the two different shot lengths could definitely be very useful in this map as well. Like, you have your shorter shots when you're playing, I guess, on the same section of the map, and then you have your longer shots when you're trying to get across these water areas here. So it's not a weapon I would have thought to have played. Don't play squeezer at all, but I wouldn't have thought of it for this map. But definitely watching this, I can see how.
It also takes a lot of discipline. Like, it's not an easy weapon to master. This is, like, you've got to main it, basically. And this is what the highest level of play with this weapon looks like. So it's great to see it used not only so well individually, but so well as a team player. Like, we are seeing time and time again, the squeezers just backing people up, taking out people that their teammates can't catch. Just amazing work. We move through to match point here for Purity. Let's jump back to the gameplay footage here.
Apparently Chocopero is using negative 4.5 motion there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, like, the precision is crazy good. You gotta have that fine tune to make that work.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're going to Gobi, are we?
Not something you see too often from Spot Zones.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet tonight, so I'm keen to see how this goes.
It is a dropped zone, and there are quite a few nice places to position your longer ranged fighters. So I imagine this is probably in part to give the heavy remix somewhere to stand, but also we could see some weapon changes here as well. Especially, like, when you go 2 down, you get desperate, you try something risky, and maybe it pays off.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt at this point, that's for sure. So, alright.
Enormous! That is something different with the Inkjet sidebar. I mean, it makes sense. It's a good map to be able to pop up on and just rain down hellfire from above, so let's see how that goes.
I like that we have the blobs on both teams here as well, which we can already see all those blobs going back and forth.
It's a brilliant map for blob warmer. Like, again, whenever you've got a zone that is compressed or contained in some way, the blobs just become a nightmare to deal with. And those sprinklers on the ceiling, both teams running that, can be hard to reach with some weapons. Luckily, the burst bombs can pick those off no problem. We are seeing Don't Use Charger with the early lead here. I don't know where Purity are. They're building special for a counter push? Yes. Okay, that's what's happening.
There we go.
We have the Tenta missiles coming out as well as one other special I think dropped as well. And the bubbles are ready to go.
Yeah. Looks like we had 2 push on the left side here, and probably 2 on the right as well, I'm assuming? Yeah, it looks like that. Looks like the pair on the right are having a bit more luck, but they did get to paint that zone there. It's a little bit green at the moment, but the blob's making quick work of that, so that's fine.
Yeah, that was a textbook hold and push. They waited for their team to get all the special they needed, and they just steamrolled through the opponent, who was just kind of holding the line. Like, that is absolutely how you do a retake when the team's in a disadvantaged position. That being said, Riu down on Purity. I was just going to comment on how the Blob Lobber was using the 45-degree angle of some of these walls to get some extra shots.
Oh yeah.
If you've got a curling bomb or a Blob Lobber, you can really do some fun geometry in this game. So always nice to see that in action. Inkjet's going to buy them a bit of space here and a bit of time. They only need to hold out for another 10 points to take the lead, and it looks like with 2 specials on the opponent's side, that's going to be a doable task, but not for long.
We do have this bomb rush coming out. It looks like they're partially holding the zone and partially trying to take out these bubbles now, which did quite a bit there, but very quickly painted over again.
Yeah, that is the retake there. They did get a few more points than I was expecting there, getting down to 18 remaining. But I imagine Purity are banking on the fact that they still have half a match to go. They can afford to concede a few more points if it means they're going to be safer and keep more of their players up in this battle.
The zone's going back and forth very quickly. Norisuke here trying to paint it. They've got the sprinkler out as well. It's going back towards blue. We're going to see it. They do have that inkjet. That will just go down there? Yeah.
So much work. Like, that is such a critical placement. Constant zone pressure. That is 3 down on Purity. We don't use Charger. Oh wait, hang on. Nope. Yeah, 3 down on don't use Charger. Purity in a good position to take this one out.
Yeah, looks like they've got at least 3 just sitting around the zone here. Oh, that does switch back very quickly there, I feel.
Yeah.
To don't use Charger. We got missiles coming out here.
A moment to get that recon information as well. Very good team play. That's going to get them all the info they need to push out on their opponent right now. Point sensors going out as well. You love to see the vanilla dually squelches. They've come back full force. It used to be custom only, but like vanilla dually squelches are really making a return here with Tentimuses being such a great reconnaissance tool.
Yeah, you really can give your team so much information, especially if the other team's trying to push back. You can know exactly where they're coming and just cut them straight off.
We're moving into the last minute here. Yeah, Inkjet moving over the top. Quite dangerous. And I gotta say, that Inkjet moving very well to not get picked out there by 2 players. It looks like Don't Use Charger are going to be able to hold on for a bit more here and really run down the clock. At this point, a KO is probably out of reach, but every second they can take away from their opponent is a second closer to winning this round. They're probably just going to hold the line. They're not going to go for anything crazy. They'd be okay with neutral at this point, as long as it's not their opponent scoring.
Yeah. We do have, here we go, we've got the bubbles coming out here. Got some bombs as well.
Multiple
that seems like
rushes.
that's going to... Ooh, not going to go back because of the bomb rush, counter bomb rush coming out.
The interesting thing about bomb rushing this zone as well is that if you pepper one side, it's not going to paint the other because of that obstacle in the middle. If you can't hit both sides, you're not going to be able to flip it alone. So, yeah, playing the bomb rush to the opposite side there was a very clever move from Don't Use Charger. The penalty is gone now, and overtime is pending. Don't Use Charger down a player, but they need to stop their opponent here and now if they want to stay in this tournament. They've only got a few points the difference. They're going to lose the lead here. Now they have to do an overtime push. This is brutal. Purity.
2 down there.
Oh my goodness. Purity taking it in the closing seconds. What I really thought was going to be an overtime push for Purity ended up being a clincher and shutting down their opponent without any stress of an overtime. That is just such good pacing from Purity. I said it in round 1 when we saw them, and I'll say it again. They know how to pace those specials. They are just absolutely efficient in making sure that their opponent does not get any breathing room when it matters most.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me to see that we were back to those single-digit splats once again, because we had the teams just holding that line in the middle. They weren't being overly aggressive. We did see the zone going back and forth so much, which now that I'm seeing the splats, I I don't know. I would have assumed there would be more splats just on how much the zone was switching back and forth.
I think
but,
part of that might have been due to the bloblowers, right? Like they were mostly focusing on turf.
That's true.
So there would have been, whenever one bloblobber was absent, the other bloblobber would be able to cap the zone, no problem. And because of that, like, super finite dynamic of 2 players pairing off, we would have seen a lot of flips and a lot of penalties. But yeah, I guess that also explains why there weren't as many splats, because players were playing it safer, they had safer weapons, and they were playing the map as it was meant to be played. So, very well done to both of our teams there, but that is going to be Purity as our second finalist.
Yeah. Alright.
Ready for Grands?
Yeah. By the way, there's a message in Discord if you haven't seen it.
Ooh, lovely. I will double check that quickly.
Yeah. Alright, I don't think we've got any info on the other matchup just yet.
Yeah, no, well, we watched it, so we know who the grand finalists
Sorry,
are.
yes, that's right. They're staggering them, aren't they? Oh my goodness. I blame the fact it's midnight.
Yes, that's totally valid. So
Oh
yeah,
my
we're moving into our grand final. We've got our 2 teams. We're going to see... We've seen both of these teams in action already. We know what kind of weapons they like to run. Do you have a favorite out of our 2 final teams? I expect no is the answer I'm expecting.
No!
Like, we just don't know these teams that well. We don't know enough about them to get that information.
I can make a slightly biased, purely by entertainment factor that guess I'm rooting for Purity.
Yeah. Okay.
But not the most useful guess.
No, absolutely not.
Chat, do you have any
predictions? Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. We have a returning champion in this grand final. I don't know if Purity have ever won this before.
Oh, we've got a comment that these 2 teams played in the grands last time as well.
Okay,
Yep.
So this is a rematch of sorts. That is very good news.
That's always a fun time.
Okay, we do have the lobby as well, so we're going to be jumping into this very shortly. Let's take one last look at our bracket, just so we can see how these teams got here and what they were looking at. Let's see, turn the bracket. Yeah, here we go. So you can see Purity from the top left here, push through multiple matches. That was a 3-0 as well. That was quite the commanding victory on their behalf. Whereas looking at the bottom of our map here,
had a Umako Kai versus that was our death team.
yes, Clad with Death.
Yes, that one. Thank you. I'm still slightly sad that life lost the life versus death matchup in the previous round, but anyway.
It does happen. Okay, I'm just checking something real quick. Won't take a moment, but I just want to make sure the overlays are ready for the grand finals.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
so
do have the
Umako
room
Kai
back.
were coming into this as a very well-known team in this tournament. So I imagine that both of these teams have good knowledge on each other. So we might see some counter picks potentially that we haven't seen from these teams thus far. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, especially having played each other at the last Area Cup, I wonder if they're going to stick with their strategies or if they've, come up with something new in case this happened to try and surprise their opponents. Who knows?
Umako Kai, excellent.
The data's playing nice this time, I hope.
Nope.
Oh no.
I'm gonna have to look into this later to find out why it deletes teams that I've featured previously. I probably set something up wrong, but that is on me. So yeah.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah. But that's okay because I have seen them previously, so I know where to find the information. So our first map has been rolled. Would you like to know what it is?
Yes. What have we got?
Okay, so our first map in the grand finals is Wahoo World.
Oh my goodness.
Click for reveal. There we go.
Alright. So we're back to this one again.
Yes,
I guess.
we are.
Are we gonna have
we're gonna see the blob from both
again, sure.
teams. We're gonna see.
Oh
that.
yeah. There was no way we don't get blob on this.
And we did see Purity just play this. They didn't have the strongest of openings, but they were able to clutch it out through the end of the match. I wonder if we'll see some returning themes through that as well.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this one will go for, predictions on how the future matches will go here. Alright.
Just a shout out for chat as well for the grand finals. I have enabled color lock, so you will be able to tell which team is which color at all times.
Yes,
thank you for your
that
patience.
Should help.
Okay, so we don't have a blob lobber coming out from Umako Kai. They're sticking with their standard comp.
Yeah,
and I mean, custom jet makes sense to me. It's a very common pick for this map because you can pressure that entire runway to the zone as well as stand in the same place while you do it. So it's definitely a good pick for this map, and I'm sure they know that. I'm sure I don't have to explain that to them.
Yeah, I am interested that we have the squeezer coming out again. I know we've gotten that quite a bit, but we have the squeezer on both maps here, both teams here rather. Always curious to see how that gets played.
Absolutely. It is interesting also to see the discrepancy in the amount of income run by these teams as well. I think they're both running one set of income each.
You're probably going to be better at guessing than I am, admittedly. Yeah. So, alright, Riu coming out there. We had bubbles as well, so that's flipped the map, the zone over. I think I got a decent lead here for this early on, but oh, there we go. We got 2 down on Purity now. Hiding out on this wall here, probably getting a little bit info.
Yeah, I was going to say, Umako Kai have set up a very good defensive front line here. I don't know how open they'd be to flanks, but at this point with the score as far along as it is, I don't know if it's really an option for Purity. You can see here that they've definitely gone for a brute force method, because when your opponent gets down to 41 remaining and they don't have a penalty, a flank can cost you 20-something points, and it may not even be successful. So it's nice to see that they're adapting to the scoreboard as it goes. They're keeping their strategies fast and loose, and it's definitely keeping them in this game. Penalty on both sides now. Umako Kai with a slight lead at the 3-minute mark. Everything to play for.
Oh yeah, I'm not at all willing to guess who's going to win this yet. This is surely going to go back and forth quite a bit. Ooh, a couple of spots there?
Yeah, a couple indeed. One down on each side. We've seen time and time again, this Kenta Gal, their maneuverability, their plays around the splash walls, they know exactly how to keep themselves alive in a fight, even a fight with unfair numbers.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, their survivability has been excellent, and I think that's part of the reason why they're able to commit so much pressure to this zone, is because their players just aren't dropping. If we look at the splats for Purity, they only have 7 total splat assists, and we're 3 minutes into the match. Like, they haven't been able to pin anyone in the Umako Kai down, and that's really working in their favour.
Yeah, these walls as well. I love watching the Gal right now because the walls are just so... I can see what they're aiming for with every wall. Like, definitely a lot of thought going into it. Oh, we have a jump out there. Is that going to be possibly just saving the armor? Making sure they don't lose that, because that could be quite dangerous at this point. Yeah. Here we go, we've got the armor coming out.
Unfortunately, pushing in with the player disadvantage to start with, but gets a lovely suction bomb on the side of the splash wall. That is a wonderful throw. That is going to get them nice and positioned to getting this zone, especially with so many of the members of Umako Kai having to drop down to chase. Unfortunately, it gets them a penalty, but not much more. Looks like they weren't able to get as many picks as they were hoping there, and because of that, they're going to have to work a bit harder to make this work.
We have the bubbles coming out, and I think the armor at the same time. We have tenta missiles as well, so throwing all the specials through at the moment, but that zone is just, it's going back and forth.
Yeah, I will say these suction bombs that we've been seeing coming out from Purity, they've been annoying, but they haven't really been nabbing their opponent, and I can only imagine that's because Umako Kai have such good movement that a suction bomb doesn't actually pose as much of a threat to them as it would most players. Unfortunately, like, aside from applying pressure, there's not much Purity can do right now. We've got 45 seconds left, and this one gal is holding down 2 players. It seems like one of them's finally managed to sneak around. Oh, and the squeezer gets shot from below. That's very good. The suction bomb will slow their entry into the zone, but only by a few points.
Yeah, nice bit of movement around the side there. Just go a bit more
Very
down to
good
get
jump
the
out
zone.
despite being marked as well. We are probably going to see overtime here if this persists. We do have the jet shooting out that ray and pressuring this platform. Again, that's why you bring it on this map, because it makes it very hard for your opponent to lock down that runway, either on their side or yours. That being said, we're seeing some nice aggression from Purity here. We know they know how to turn it on when it counts. Very close to getting that scoreline. They are in overtime here. Will they get neutral? We do see neutral. Oh, and Umako Kai! They managed to sneak it out from under their nose. I don't think they had any, like, particular splats there. They were just able to push their opponent unawares. Umako Kai are going to take round 1.
Yeah, nice grab of the zone there right at the end. They must have just been painting it.
Yeah.
I feel like perhaps Purity got a little bit, at least the player we were watching there, I think they maybe got a little bit distracted.
Well, I don't know if they had much of an option. I think it was get distracted or get splattered. So
yeah, which is a good play by Umako Kai, I guess, making sure that you're drawing the players away from the zone so that they can't help when you stop.
Yeah, and the timing of that is critical as well. If you pull them away when you're not quite at the zone yet, and this is during overtime, mind you, so like everyone's sweating bullets. If you manage to screw up that timing just a little bit, the play doesn't work, you don't get the zone, your opponent wins. So the fact that they were able to pull that off in perfect sync, like what we saw on camera was one player was drawn away from the zone, and in that instant, the zone was taken. Like, they were going back for it. If they'd had another 2 seconds before it was capped, it would have been curtains for Umako Kai, but they played it perfectly.
Yeah, I guess that's what you see at this level. Like, the level that these players are playing at.
Oh, it's a little
That's the kind of thing.
I do have a quick replay for us. I don't know if we'll have much time to see it, but it was some lovely play here by that suction bomb throw. Using the armor as well to buy themselves that suction bomb back so they could get that nice splat. Oh, yeah. Alright, back to gameplay. We don't have time for replays. Piranha Pit, round 2.
Yeah, back here again.
So this is Purity's pick. We did see this picked earlier. Back in round 1, I think Purity picked this one for their round 3. So, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be confident on this one.
Umako Kai already taking out 3 opponents, however. We didn't see any of the fights, unfortunately, but we already have Shimapi, jumping up on that platform and providing some very good forward pressure from a safe position. That is the kind of positioning that really shows off map knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I love how they just hold that third bubble. I think we've seen that a couple of times.
They just like throw out the bomb, throw out the third bubble, and the bomb instantly detonates. Like, that's such a good play.
It's something I think we've seen quite a bit. You commented on the booyahs earlier. These players don't just use their special. Even when they pop it, they will sit there and they'll hold it.
They just
until
know
the right
all
moment.
The tricks. There's nothing in the playbook that these players do not know. We already have 25 points remaining here. This is really surprising considering this was a Purity counter pick. But Umako Kai have just got their number. They are able to get neutral, but not for long. There's only one player left. I think that's already over.
Oh, we do have bubbles coming out. We've got we got 3 down on Purity.
Purity
and we got that booyah coming out that gets the last one right at the last second there. Oh my goodness. That is the first
stomping we have seen. Purity getting absolutely swept under the rug by Umako Kai there. We didn't see a lot of the fights there, but we did see a lot of the plays and positioning. Umako Kai were everywhere they needed to be. Every time we saw Purity try something, it was shut down. And like, that is just some textbook Splatoon action.
Oh, I feel like I need to sit down and watch that back later, to be honest. Like, I know there was a lot off camera, which, you know, always unfortunate thing with the way spectator works in Splatoon. But, yeah. I just feel like I So much I could learn. I still love those bubbles. It's just something I've been noticing over the last few matches.
Like, I've never known that bubbles had so much utility, right? Like we saw it block a Booyah Bomb earlier in the stream. We just saw it used as an instant 100 damage. Like that is some spectacular plays.
I feel like this is a lot of things that I've heard in theory. You know, I've heard in discussion.
I've seen this stuff in the shooting range, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really cool thing to do, but to use it in practice under this much pressure, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And it shows just how much time and effort and practice that players put into the games. Even some of the jumps that you see, it's not straightforward navigation of the map. And yes, you know, anyone could learn how to navigate the map and using all the fancy jumps and everything. But I guess you either have to be told about them, or you have to play enough on these maps and go looking for them that you actually find all those jumps. So nothing particularly fancy I think you can do on Pit, unfortunately. So we didn't see any there, but some of the earlier maps we've definitely seen some very interesting maneuverability. Speaking of...
Arowana Mall from Purity. An interesting counter pick, not one I feel like I would usually see, but it is currently championship point for Umako Kai. You gotta try something here to throw your opponent off balance. We did see Umako Kai drop some maps earlier as well. I don't know which maps exactly those were. But...
I was trying to remember, but no.
They could be potentially good counter picks. In fact, that's right. There was one map that was particularly their weakness. It was Camp Triggerfish.
That's right.
It's a risky play, but like I'd love to see Purity try it. Anyway, having a look at these weapons here, we don't have any major changes from these teams as far as I can tell. We could have changed some clothes around, but we don't get that kind of in-depth information from here. Ooh, lovely work with the Stingray.
My goodness.
That was 2 assists off an opening Stingray. And that is going to set their momentum into gear. And if they can keep their momentum like they did last match, this tournament is over.
Yeah, we've already got them set up and closed here. We've got a bit of coordination with bombs and the walls. Oh, nice work. Got that pick there.
Such good coordination.
Yeah, definitely using the burst bombs there. Just trying to get a bit of information. Trying to see if someone's hiding around the corner, which is something that they're great at. We do have 2 players up here as well. We've got missiles coming out.
Stingray came out again. It's going to force them down into a bad position, and they're forced to use their specials to get out of it. Hopefully they can get a cap. They do actually manage to land someone. I imagine they were being pressured from the other side. In fact, it looks like, yes, that was a 2-pronged push. And they have got a penalty on the board for the opponent. So right now they have less pressure to cap right now. They can focus on the fights. And they have done exactly that. That is 2 down on Umako Kai. Purity in with a chance. They are fighting for this tournament.
Here comes the Stingray again, though.
Ooh, Tentamissiles will shut down the Stingray. That's a good counter pick for that. And lovely thing here, the range on the dually squelches is longer than that of the Gal. So as long as the dually squelches can keep that firing up, the Gal can't actually approach until they remove their wall and replace it.
Yeah, it seems like Umako Kai were very much going for the zone there, unfortunately. They did get the cap. There's a bit of yellow on it. It's sort of going back, but the dually squelches here, it seems like they're being very much forced back, although possibly just building missiles. Yeah, I think they're building the missiles here.
Look at that Squeezer just using the maximum extent of its range to hold their opponent out of view. I mean, the Bloblobber hasn't been able to do anything for a while now because of how good a hold they've had here on Short Bridge.
Yeah, they're trying to sit up on this perch here. Oh, here we go. We've got Bomb Rush coming out now. That
Bubbles
hopefully
as
get
well
them the zone.
as armor, that should be a guaranteed cap. If 3 specials don't get it, you're in a lot of trouble because you've spent a lot of resources. So we do see Purity stacking on that penalty once again. They're able to get some kicks out of it as well, which is good. Hopefully they can avoid this booyah. Yes, they do, and the bubbles won't be enough to cap it. Only the Squeezer is left, actually. They should probably go hunting right now. For that, I think we might see that, though. The Bloblobber is probably going to stay back here and make sure the zone is completely painted.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they're trying to set up and be a bit careful. We've got someone coming in closed, and we've got the Squeezer trying to protect. We have fallen back here.
Closed is such a dangerous point. You'll often see 2 players just spacing each other out up there. It's a useful distraction, even if you're not able to push through it. As we are seeing here, the Squeeze are actually there just to land the bomb!
Nice!
That is a very lucky bomb throw, and they are very close to a knockout all of a sudden. Where did this come from?
Very nice. Protected bubbles there.
Oh, and the bubbles just to block the line of sight! That's so good! Like, you've got one person left to turf, and it's just like, nah, not happening. Don't even worry about it.
That was good. Purity really seemed to get their foothold on the map there, and they just held it.
That was
what they were working for.
Beautiful stuff. Again, very low splats on this one. Teams were playing like quite back and forth over the zone itself, but like the plays we saw around close there were just wonderful. Using the bubbles to stop your opponent from turfing, like that is such a clever use. Especially when you don't have a splash wall on hand, like, all right, I'll just put this giant sponge here and
yeah,
take
good luck.
Everything you got.
I did find I didn't see what Umako Kai got on that one, but Purity, I think, because I started paying a lot of attention to their splats and specials. I think the numbers were almost even.
Yeah, they had 5 across the board on splat assists. Umako Kai were 5 or slightly less. So it was very even between the two teams.
I mean, if you're not dying as much, you definitely have more chances to use your specials because you're not losing them to deaths.
Yeah,
but it's still, I don't know. It is very interesting.
It's a very standoffish map, right? Like Arrow Animal has closed. We saw so many times there were just 2 players standing off. They weren't able to move around, but they weren't able to abandon their post. So we just saw 2 players there. We saw 2 players on short bridge standing off. We saw 2 players on like left snipe, I forget the exact call out for that one, standing off. And when you're in those positions, you're using your max range to just keep your opponent at bay. You don't see many splats, and as long as you're in control of the zone during that time, it's free points.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We have Umako Kai's counter pick. It is New Albacore.
Once again.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them absolutely shred at this. It makes perfect sense. We're going to see the Jet with the early opening play does manage to catch someone out very early on.
Might get a second, perhaps? No, it doesn't quite manage to get there.
Interesting thing I've noted about this is that whenever Umako Kai open with their Jet, they always fire where their teammates are. Because you're not going to be able to get a solo Stingray splat at this level of play. But if your opponent's being pressured, you might be able to force a splat. And that's just teamwork 101. That's great stuff. They just know on an instant, right, this teammate's engaged, gonna provide suppressive fire there, this teammate's engaged. And that player was just out of luck.
Ooh, yeah. Couldn't quite get out of the way there.
Yeah, so the Jet's job is just to keep this lane clear and build Stingray. And they're doing a wonderful job at that. Umako Kai are going to be able to get very close to lead here. I imagine if they can take out 1 or 2 more players on Purity, they're going to be able to guarantee themselves a sizable lead. Just because of the player positioning here is quite strong. They're everywhere they want to be, and their opponent is not. That being said, we didn't see how that zone was captured, but Purity do take control. They lose 2 players for it, but it's another stack of penalty. It's another bit of time for them to get their opponent out of where they are and get into the positioning they need to hold this second.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes all you need, especially this early on in the match, is just that extra time to not be panicking to get your position. So we do have it down even now.
We've seen the Squeezer do some amazing shots in this area before.
Oh my goodness!
They get pushed and taken out by the bubbles. That is great work by the Squeezer on Purity. And they've taken out all but 1 player. We know where the last one is going to be. And they are painting the zone from where they are. But that is going to be Purity with the lead, only by a single point, mind you. They are going to be able to extend their lead here. Their opponent has 2 specials, so I don't imagine it's going to be much of a lead. But that remains to be seen.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, the bubbles
we got some bubbles coming out. Yeah.
The Booyah Bomb will pop those, and
there we go.
Excellent.
Nice coordination there. Shimo Peak does get the trade, alright. I was a bit worried they were going to fall in the water there, but survived. Very nice.
Bloblobber as well, able to use the bridge to their advantage there and drop the shots lower than they normally would go. Definitely helped them staying alive a bit longer there, but the Umako Kai do take them out. a decent lead increase by Purity, but with 2 minutes left, it is still a very achievable goal here by Umako Kai. Gal pushing very aggressively here. This is where your opponent really doesn't want the Gal to be, because it cuts off a lot of access lanes.
Yeah, that wall being in this area can be quite painful, and the Gal has
perfectly placed so it couldn't be escaped. Oof. You know, most players like me would throw the Booyah at your opponent, but knowing exactly where to place it so your opponent can't outrun it is just that extra level of skill.
Alright, we do have the zone on yellow.
It's been pretty
ready to...
Booyah and Bubbles again is going to clear out a lot of the space. They do take out the opponent's Blob Blobber, but they go down themselves to the blobs. The blobs are bouncing off the walls. I didn't even notice that. Wow. Blob Blobber really paying its pay grade there.
It's certainly an interesting map for it because you have these bridges where the blobs just fall through. So you do need to be making sure that you aim properly, but yeah, there isn't just enough walls here that it's quite dangerous.
Stingray does find one. The teams are quite scattered at this point. Things are getting a bit frantic. We're on the last minute. That is lead to Umako Kai. They are so close to winning this championship if they can just hold this for a little bit longer. That being said, I'm sure Purity have one last trick up their sleeves. They don't have any specials to speak of. They've lost their nozzle nose, but can they get some surprise
points left?
No, it's looking like it's done.
3 down.
That is Umako Kai with the championship. They win Arena Cup 57.
Yeah, it looked like a couple of members of Purity, or at least one, were on that zone and trying to pin it right at the end there. Maybe a bit of a, a panic, which, fair, you can't do much else at that point. But they just got taken out. I think at least one of them got taken out on the zone, which of course just painted it for Umako Kai. So, a lot more splat, well, not a lot, but hey, we got to almost 10 splats.
Yeah, it is not hard to see why that's Umako Kai's counterpick map. They have practiced it time and time again. They know exactly what they need to do to win that map. They have their positioning worked out to a T, and we just saw they kind of forced their opponent into a bad situation. Like, they just kept playing it nice and slow. They didn't give up their positioning, and because they were able to just tick that point score down, their opponent was forced to do stuff that was not super optimal. Like, they had to push in at the end there. They had to push over the bridge to try and hunt their opponent out. Umako Kai just really had them cornered, so they were forced to make some errors, and they weren't able to take it out.
Yeah. Oh, that was great to see. Tara says that's 21 wins for Schmeppy now.
21 wins! That's incredible.
Out of 57 tournaments.
I mean...
insane.
Wow.
Like...
Just wow.
Yeah.
Alright, well that is going to be Umako Kai taking the championship. We've got a little replay here of a nice shot from Purity, but I don't have anything for Umako Kai, so we're just going to have to... Maybe we can view the closing bracket? Maybe we can do that?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Let's have a look at that. That'd be a nice thing to close on. Alright, move over to a closing bracket here. So, that was Area Cup 57. We got to see some excellent sets of Splatoon. We saw 5 different matchups here. And hopefully, this won't be the last time we do this event as well, because I'm very keen to see what these players can bring. And I want to see some new teams. I want to see new strategies.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to do this again, maybe a couple of Area Cups, see how the teams have changed, see what new names we might find. Yeah, I'm definitely keen.
Absolutely.
So...
And the more people that rock up to these streams, the more more that the organizers are going to see that and be like, ah, yes, there is a want for these. There is a want for these international streams, so they'll keep coming back to us and we'll keep giving them to you. That's how it works.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you everyone for watching tonight.
Yep.
It has been a few hours and it's a bit late for some of us, I'm sure.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a great event. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah. So a little message here. The next Area Cup is on the 20th of October, so it's not too far away. It is open to any participants. I believe we had 1, maybe 2. I think there were like 5 outside of Japan teams in the tournament. At least 5 in this tournament. So if this looks like fun, you can absolutely sign up for it. There's a pools system so that you can get all those going. And you're not guaranteed to go up against the toughest of opponents right away. There is seeding involved in these tournaments. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a fun experience. I definitely recommend giving it a go if you think you'd like it. I don't think we'll be streaming it because it is on a Wednesday, I think. Tuesday or a Wednesday, so...
Wednesday sounds about right, yeah.
Can't exactly do that on a work night, but we might be able to bring you one of these future events, so stay tuned for that. And hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, I guess, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.